Good morning. My name is Sarah Goforth. On behalf of the Sam and Walton College at the University of Arkansas, I am thrilled to welcome you to the final round of the second annual Heartland Challenge. To our teams, congratulations on earning your spot here. Wow, we were so impressed by your business plans and your presentations in the semifinal round. The fact that you've built your businesses during a global pandemic with travel bans and economic swings is proof that innovators let nothing stand in their way. Good luck today. To our judges, thank you so much for lending your experience and time to us today. To our audiences around the world, enjoy. And don't forget to tune in at noon for the Audience Choice Elevator Pitch Competition, Keynote Speaker and Awards. Finally, to our generous lead sponsor, the Walton Family Charitable Support Foundation, thank you for making all of this possible and for everything you do to empower inclusive entrepreneurial ecosystems here in Arkansas and across the Heartland. It's going to be a great day. Okay, on to the main event. Stand by for our first team.
Taking cleaning off the list for Airbnb host. A day in my life as an Airbnb host. I manage 2 Airbnbs and I'm out of town on vacation. I just got a text from my cleaner canceling last minute. And I have a guest checking in 3 hours. One bad review can mean a major hit to my revenue.
Now let me give you a window into a gig economy worker. I was furloughed indefinitely due to COVID. I heard about cleaning Airbnbs, but it's tough to get clients and manage my time when jobs are last minute. On top of that, I had to negotiate my own pay. I don't even know where to start.
We are 2 of the 3 co-founders of Backup, a double-sided marketplace connecting cleaners and hosts to get Airbnb's backup and hosting in as soon as 5 hours. The fundamental problem is that it's difficult to find and maintain consistent clients on both sides of the marketplace. Hosts constantly experience turnover. In an average year, a host will change cleaners 5 times. Cleaners find it expensive to generate new business and paying by the lead without any guarantee of future revenue or new clients. The lack of data and transparency in pricing creates tension between Airbnb hosts and cleaners. Hosts typically think they're overpaying their cleaners, but they have rarely stepped into the shoes of a cleaner and seen the work it takes to flip an Airbnb. Disparate task lists and pictures are not an accurate representation of a quality clean. Platforms today rely on pictures for quality assurance, but a picture cannot catch a hair on the sheets. The Backup solution is a platform that connects hosts with reliable and specialized cleaners to get Airbnb's backup and hosting. We do this through an intuitive marketplace application that addresses the gaps that exist in the current platforms on the market today. Our application allows hosts to post jobs and cleaners to claim jobs through a seamless user experience. Backup values transparency and has created a proprietary pricing model that predicts the amount of time it takes to perform an Airbnb flip with 92% accuracy. We're excited to show you the details around what that means in a moment. We are also the first movers in providing standardization of the cleaning fee to protect guests, cleaners, and hosts. Lastly, Backup guarantees quality and timely flips through a highly trained workforce and operations technicians that audit after every clean. A picture doesn't find every hair, but an operations tech can. Our workforce is equipped with the right tools, training, and support to better guarantee every Airbnb is guest ready at a Backup standard. I'm going to pass it to Ian. He's going to discuss market validation.
You may be sitting there asking yourself, is this a big enough problem that needs to be solved? Let's start by talking about hosts. Airbnb is experiencing explosive growth with their recent IPO, low interest rates for mortgages, and people starting to travel again after the pandemic. After more than 80 customer discovery interviews, we found that cleaning is the #1 reason hosts are up at night. After posting in a national Airbnb Facebook forum, people from 35 cities commented yes to our value props and asked for backup in their city. Backup has validated that Airbnb cleaning is not only a local need to Northwest Arkansas, but it's a problem on a national and global scale. I get really amped when I talk about cleaners. The job market is changing, with over 50% of jobs expected to involve the gig economy by 2023. This paves the way for a flexible and enjoyable lifestyle. Going into this, we were worried there would not be a supply of cleaners. Yet after posting an application on various job sites, we had over 150 responses in less than 48 hours in just Bentonville alone. We have a waiting list of over 100 cleaners in Northwest Arkansas and Dallas. The market size for Airbnb cleaning is huge. Discussing the market opportunity starts with understanding an Airbnb flip what a cleaning is, and how we calculate yearly flip revenue. A flip is when a guest leaves an Airbnb and it has to be cleaned, prepped, and made ready for the next guest. Hosts set a cleaning fee that a guest must pay to stay at an Airbnb. Lastly, if you would look at the equation at the top of the screen, this formula is a primary driver for our business. Yearly flip revenue is calculated by the number of flips, 40 in an average year, times the average cleaning fee of 105. To get the market size, we simply multiply that number by the Airbnbs in the market. The total addressable market worldwide is $29.4 billion. We know this is a substantial number, but it provides a blue sky for our company to grow. The service addressable market in the US is $2.7 billion, only 65% of which is obtainable due to the size of some properties and hosts choosing to clean themselves. Backup's revenue is driven by the number of hosts, Airbnbs, cleanings, and hours it takes to complete one clean. By charging hosts a $16 monthly subscription fee per property, they have access to our technology and our workforce. For hosts that have over 5 properties, we reduce the monthly fee to $10 per property to attract power users. Hosts also pay a property-specific cleaning fee each time the property is flipped. Backup takes cleaning off the list by handling the logistics of getting an Airbnb guest ready. Our costs include our workforce and on-site expenses such as cleaning supplies, laundry, and incidentals. We currently have 0% host churn with an estimated lifetime value per property of $21,000 if kept for 5 years. Furthermore, Backup is projected to do $90 million in revenue by 2025 with 3% of the overall market share. It all starts with a host providing their Airbnb URL. We are able to scrape all necessary inputs such as number of beds, guests, locations, etc., to accurately predict the time it takes to clean the Airbnb using a proprietary prediction model. The result of this model is a property-specific cleaning fee. The main value for hosts is in Backup absorbing the responsibility for managing the cleaner relationship and guaranteeing a quality flip. Backup is protected from hosts going offline with cleaners by disintermediating the traditional relationship and a rotating workforce. Hosts exiting the platform are back with the same problems they experienced before they ever even got on Backup. The Backup pledge is to provide a livable wage to cleaners starting at $19 per hour, which is 40% more than the average gig economy job. To date, cleaners have made over $3,600. The best jobs go to the best cleaners. Our algorithm ranks cleaners higher that are taking ownership in their role through advanced certification and achievements. Cleaners choose to stay on the Backup platform due to the variety of jobs on demand and minimal interaction with the host. Backup isn't just an idea. It's an operating business. All 3 founders have worked as cleaners, hosts, and quality specialists to deeply understand the wants and needs of each role. The Backup marketplace went live on March 7th, allowing cleaners to pick up jobs in real time and began to take cleaning off the list for hosts. In less than 40 days, our company has acquired 12 hosts and 75 Airbnbs organically. We are the primary cleaning service to 25 of these and provide secondary services for 50. Backup cleaners have completed 54 flips, generating over $5.4 thousand for Backup to date. All 29 cleaners have come back for 2 additional jobs and are eager for more Airbnbs to be added to the marketplace.
Backup is building a product that is both host and cleaner-centric. We see our product as an extension of Airbnb for our users, thus the UI is simple and clean, making the most important part of the user experience the ease of use to manage all moving pieces of a host, cleaner, and guest journey. Hosts can be as active or as passive with our technology as they want. The ability to message, check calendars from up to 10 different sources, see flips, and manage payments all function to assist a host in making sure cleaning is truly off the list. This is Emmy's host portal that she pays $16 a month to access, where she can see her upcoming cleaner in the queue. The cards at the bottom show Emmy important info as it relates to who her cleaner is, cleaning reviews, price per clean paid out to Backup, and time until the next guest arrives. Our platform gives Emmy all the information in an easy, usable manner. As Emmy clicks on flips, she will see a finished example of how Hannah did, her past cleaner. All rooms in the house are broken up into tasks with as much or as little detail as Emmy wants to leave the cleaner. Emmy adds pictures to provide her expectation. This is the simplicity of a flip and the confidence needed for hosts that their property is truly guest ready. Let me introduce you to Hannah. She is a cleaner, and this is her perspective of our developing product. She needs a way to easily set up an account when her friend recommends backup. Hannah can easily search the marketplace for jobs and can have a broad view of the money made, jobs completed, and her rating. Backup takes on-site processes and combines the power of our app to make Hannah's life much easier and understanding the host expectation, not only of the clean, but the aesthetic as well. This is the crux of our business model. Backup has researched and developed a plan to scale its product and service through continuous testing for both hosts and cleaners over the past 3 months. Backup plans to begin promoting its service through a word of mouth, a robust digital advertising strategy, and a referral program. Currently, for every one property, we onboard 3 people off the waiting list to begin their training as cleaners. We are also in talks with potential cleaning supply and laundry partners to lower costs at scale and streamline our business. The founders are engaged in real estate, short-term rental forums, and other groups to accelerate business growth and continue to test different host personas. A geographical growth strategy will be crucial to how and when Backup expands to new markets. We've selected Northwest Arkansas, Dallas, and Denver due to the differences in density as the first 3 Backup locations. We're on track to do 21% of the Northwest Arkansas market, which is 336 Airbnbs by year end. Backup will enter the Dallas market in October, as we currently have numerous cleaners and Airbnbs on a waiting list. We selected Denver as the 3rd pilot location for summer of 2022 because of the limited supply of cleaners and high influx of tourism. In the short-term rental space, there are a lot of existing platforms that are challenged with leveraging technology and managing a decentralized workforce. Firms like Turnover B&B provide a great marketplace for connecting with cleaners, but fail to resolve the management and reliability issues that hosts face. Similarly, firms such as Thumbtack provide a wide array of services, which dilutes the value proposition of focusing on Airbnb-specific turnover services. The Backup model is a hybrid of providing a marketplace to connect while also managing logistics through intuitive technology and value-added services. Backup provides multiple competitive advantages. First, the platform is designed to be intuitive for both hosts and cleaners by focusing on minimalism and ease of use. Backup has a highly reliable and specialized workforce that's on demand to get Airbnb's backup and hosting within 5 hours. The proprietary pricing model creates trust between hosts and cleaners, providing transparency of the cost. Backup is a culture of people from all backgrounds, genders, and race, unified in providing Airbnb guests the cleanest and safest state possible. We've been asked why constrain to Airbnb. Our cleaning standards align with Airbnb's enhanced cleaning protocols, and we believe in the vision of Airbnb. In a recent interview, the CEO of Airbnb, Brian Chesky, said, Airbnb is a company of host, by host, for host. Well, today, Backup is a company of cleaners, by cleaners, for cleaners. We believe that we are the perfect team to get this done. Grayson, a champion of process improvement, leads business development and operations for our team. Ian challenges assumptions while building systems and managing data. I focus on user-centric design, and I'm passionate about developing products that people actually want to use. We're a passionate group of people with a restorative culture capable of iterating quickly. We're excited to share that Backup won the 2-minute drill in March. It's scheduled to air on Amazon Prime in June. During the show, David Meltzer commented, the Backup team has the business model and team to turn this idea into a success story. Well, today, and this is what involves you guys, Backup is looking to further develop the model in Northwest Arkansas over the next 6 months. In order to continue developing our tech, acquire new customers, host and cleaners, improve the systems and processes for our company, we're seeking a $35,000 angel investment, followed by a $300,000 seed round as a convertible note with a 20% discount on the first price round this fiscal year. As you are all aware, this is an enormous opportunity for an early stage investor, as well as firms in hospitality industries such as hotel chains, even a CPG company or Airbnb. Backup is actively seeking an investment partner and mentors to help take an early stage profit generating business nationally to 30 cities in 5 years. We see Backup being the gold standard of Airbnb cleaning and a stamp of approval when you book your next short-term rental stay. Thank you to all of our hosts and cleaners watching today. Judges, the Uber of Airbnb cleaning is finally here. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you. Judges, do you have any questions for the team? Angela.
Great job. Really great job. Couple of questions. Curious what you will use the investment money for in the next immediate steps.
Absolutely. Currently, our app is under development. So we want to build out our development team to be able to bring this as a live product to market June 1st. We currently have a proof of concept that's functioning great, but to get to 21% of market share in Northwest Arkansas, we want to amp up development. So we'll do that. We'll probably use $20,000 to bring on a few interns and some development talent near and abroad to be able to build that out. Currently, we have a customer acquisition cost on both sides. We call it HAC and CAC, cleaners, host. Cleaners is $38 and host is $48. That provides background checks and other onboarding expenses. That's what it's going to cost for us to really build out a robust digital strategy to reach 6,000 transactions for our company over the next 6 months.
Can you talk a little bit about your intellectual property strategy to
Absolutely.
maintain your competitive advantage here?
Yeah, let's start with our pricing, Ian, and some of our other algorithm internal tech, and then we can go to customer tech after that.
Sure. Our pricing model is proprietary. We won't discuss the formula necessarily, but it allows us to predict with 92% accuracy the amount of time it takes to clean an Airbnb. We use a lot of inputs for that to predict that, and that is our IP. Things go into that, and then of course the price comes out. Our ranking algorithm right now ranks cleaners based on certain criteria, whether they have certifications, badges, insurance, whether they've cleaned a house before, whether they've cleaned it ever, whether they were the last cleaner. We understand there's a learning curve to clean a new Airbnb. So our proprietary algorithm allows us to rank cleaners, and our prediction model allows us to predict. So those are huge IP advantages for us.
Thanks, Ian, for talking about the advantages. To your question, Angela, around protection, we're in active conversations with our lawyer talking about developing a provisional process and design patent. We'll use the year that we have to be able to firm up our intellectual property and protect any copycats or protect our competitive advantage.
What's your brand strategy?
Our brand strategy is really simple. Be a company of cleaners, by cleaners, for cleaners. We pitched this to someone early last October, and they said, your brand is fanciful. Like, stop trying to make cleaning sexy. And we said, we absolutely disagree with you. We're not trying to make it sexy in the sense to try for any other sense than to say that people deserve to have a job where they leave at the end of the day feeling like they did something to make someone else's life better. And so our brand strategy on the cleaner side is to say, hey, here's an opportunity to directly impact people's experiences all over the world. And so our cleaners are really tapped into that mission of directly making someone feel safer in the space that they're exploring the world in an Airbnb. So we really latch onto that for our brand. On the host side, it's saying we want to make your life as simple as possible. Being an Airbnb host, like, this was designed, the gig economy was designed for you to be able to, in some ways, take your asset and be as unengaged or as engaged as you want to be. And so we want to kind of restore that for hosts, we want to restore that for hosts, allowing them to be able to reframe the work that it takes to be able to pull off an Airbnb business.
Do you think your trademark's available?
Angela, I'm going to ask that we let the other judges ask a few questions here. Bobby, can I ask you to go, please?
Sure. So as an investor, if I put in the $35,000, how do I make money?
It's a great question. Was that Cleep?
That was Bobby Sandage.
Oh, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby, for the question. As an investor, we don't have a valuation yet. So you would be actively involved with us in taking this to a $300,000 seed round You would get your 20% convertible note on that first price round, as mentioned in the financial slides. And I would say that an early stage investor is going to want to be with us for 5 years. We fully expect an exit as a company in 5 years. Your largest ROI is going to be being an engaged early stage investor. At least that's what Backup is looking for. We won't settle for anything less than an early stage investor that's really looking to help us understand scale and what it means to have a valuation at that time.
And what's the exit look like? I mean, how do you exit this?
It's a great question. As mentioned before, we're actively seeking an acquisition strategy with the hospitality industry. It's been really impacted due to COVID and just trying to get the workforce right for demand and those levers. So we could see Hilton Hotels buying us to be able to get into this space of a leaner workforce. We could see a CPG company acquiring us to be able to differentiate a physical product to a digital product or a tech product. And we could also see Airbnb absorbing us. They're in talks. We don't know what they're doing, but they're in talks of trying to make cleaning a better experience for guests. They see type of validation. They see that it's a need. And so for us, we see Airbnb potentially acquiring us so that way we can bring all of our technology and processes to improve their guest experience.
And one more question. So how do you manage the insurance? Are all these cleaners bonded? And if something happens at a facility, are you liable or are the cleaners liable?
It's a great question. Our cleaners are contract laborers. So we're going to talk about ranking at some point, and I'm sure the Q&A will mention on that. But if a cleaner provides their own insurance, they'll be ranked higher in the algorithm. So that's one. If a cleaner can provide their insurance, amazing. But as a company, we have to have an umbrella policy of liability insurance that handles all of our hosts. So it's a huge expense. But luckily, what's really cool about our model is that it grows with our business. And so as volume grows, that expense grows, but it doesn't dramatically impact our margins as an early stage business. But to answer your question explicitly, yes, Backup has an insurance policy in place, and we protect ourselves as a company and also an extension of that, our cleaners.
Thank you.
Bradley, want to ask your question?
Yes, I think you guys mentioned that you envision paying $19 an hour to the cleaner. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
Mm-hmm.
On average. It's time model. So got
it. So the host is paying about $100. I think I read. 105. Are you capturing all of the other value? And if so, how do you prevent the host and the cleaner from forming an offline relationship and cutting the value of yours out of the equation?
Absolutely. Ian, that was on your slide. You want to talk about that?
Sure, absolutely. So right now, the value of Backup is a rotating workforce available at any time. If they go offline, they have maybe one cleaner to handle what could be 5 properties or one property. One cleaner isn't most times able to handle the volume of an Airbnb flip. We are monitoring every bit of conversation between host and cleaner is on our system. They can't communicate outside of it. So number one, we would see if they're trying to go offline. If they decide to go offline, they lose every bit of our value prop on both sides. So they can't access last minute cleans. They don't have on-demand cleaning. And they also don't have access to 29 cleaners at a moment's notice, which really prevents their ability to flip their Airbnb at the scale that they need to.
Got it. And I think you mentioned that one of the big challenges that you guys are solving is the inconsistent quality that a host has access to today. Presumably, you're going to have different cleaners cleaning a property with your model as well. How does your solution solve that problem if there's different providers? I would think that would lead to inconsistent quality as well.
Go for it.
So we have a task list. Every house has a property-specific task list. We believe an Airbnb is clean if you check all of those items off that task list. And we monitor that. I sit here and watch my computer as they do it. And we believe that once they finish that an Airbnb is clean. And then the auditor goes and checks. So if they miss one dust bunny on the floor, the auditor catches that because they do a quick walkthrough, they check the aesthetics, the prepping of the house, and make sure it's set. So we say that the cleaners get it to 99% perfection and the auditor gets to 100. And so we really focus on quality. We We meet every cleaner, we onboard them, we have a conversation with them and say, these are the expectations of a host. A lot of our hosts have beautiful Airbnbs, and we want to go through them on this journey to get it to be the perfect Airbnbs, get them to become a super host, to make sure that they have a 5-star rating on every flip that we do, so that we get cleaners to buy into our values and they also buy into the host values.
Got it. Thanks.
I had a quick question about the auditors. They're not mentioned anywhere in the financial plan. So how are auditors compensated for? Are they actually on site? Are they digital auditors? Explain the audit function for me.
Well, one, thank you for looking at our financials in the appendices. They are also a gig economy contract labor. So we pay a certain amount of money to an auditor to go and claim that. And so on Sunday, we had 14 cleans. We had 2 auditors in the field. 1-to-7 ratio is where it is right now. And that auditor can go around and make a substantial amount of money with doing, minimal clean. In some cases, one of our auditors is, not super mobile or in the position to be able to do a 4 or 5 hour clean. And so it's another way for auditors to be able to engage high detail oriented people, engage in the gig economy with flexibility. They go from one job to another within the window. After it's cleaned by a cleaner, restock supplies, but it's a part of that contract labor number and our gross margins on our business plan.
Okay, great. Thanks for that
Thanks,
clarification.
Yep.
Bobby F?
Yeah, that you asked the question. I was going to ask about the auditors, but the second question is just around, you talked about Airbnb as a possible exit opportunity. What about anything you have seen in Airbnb about them creating their own solution here? Can you talk a little bit more about how that could be potentially disruptive?
Absolutely. We mentioned that yesterday. That came up in a question yesterday, and I think it is the question because if the company that we're trying to solve a problem for says we have a solution, that puts us in a position where our solution has to be great. What we fundamentally believe is that Airbnb is executing an amazing business and brand. They don't have the infrastructure to be able to compete with a company that's already grown to over $5,000 organically in 40 days. And so they could wrangle up all of the contract laborers and cleaners in the market, but to do the quality control, the training, and provide the growth opportunity and path for our cleaners, I fundamentally don't believe that they'll be able to compete with us in the model that we have. If we were just a marketplace and say, hey, we want to gather all of the cleaners and be like every other 40 option on the marketplace, we have no competitive advantage over Airbnb. But in our case, we're controlling actually how that cleaning is done, not just gathering the people to do the cleaning.
Thank you.
Do you guys plan any additional language support? My experience in having cleaning services and things like that is often my cleaners speak multiple languages, and many of which I don't speak. So you're assuming English speaking, digital literate. Address that from the cleaner experience side, please.
It's a great question, and one that I am so passionate as an owner. Two of Ian and I are both fluent in Spanish. I grew up in Guatemala, and so absolutely, our technology will be bilingual, digitally, and ways to be able to communicate on site with support. We want to be a company again that is restorative and builds people up to whatever life they want to have. And so, if a language is a gap in that, best believe Backup is solving that issue.
Okay, fantastic. So what languages are you releasing? Spanish?
It'll be English, Spanish second.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
That is our plan as of right now.
And your timeline for Spanish?
Spanish timeline, June 1 will be English. Spanish will be August.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Cleve, do you have any questions for the team?
Sure. Why Airbnb? There's Evolve, there's FRBO, and just tell me why that, was that where you got the least resistance? Why that first, and what's next?
Great question. One, as we mentioned in our business pitch, we believe in Airbnb. They are the most guest-centric short-term rental platform on the market today. We know that for a fact. I'm a host myself. We had people coming this weekend. They canceled yesterday. No cancellation fee for the guests. One, I love that. I think it's flexible. I think it's great. And we're a company built to be able to support that. But two, to be able to build a successful marketplace, as you are well aware, takes constraining. And we started off Backup as this idea of we're going to be the cleaning company for all short-term rentals. And sure, we can do my mom's house and some of her friends as well. But what we fast to realize was that we're not going to be able to build a quality and differentiating product if we don't constrain. And so we looked and sent out a survey across a national survey and said, hey, who puts their property on this? And then different income levels and different personas to try and just begin early stage discovery. And we saw that people that post on Airbnb are most like the customers that we want to have as first movers. So to answer your question in short, we do Airbnb because we constrain to it to be able to execute it excellently. It's the market. And this goes back to the standardization on slide 3. We need a way to be able to standardize a cleaning fee. And a lot of times hosts don't know what that is. There are some products that tell hosts, hey, in your area, it's within this $50 range, but that can be the difference maker of a guest choosing to stay at your house or not. So for us, we take all of the data nationally, all of the geographical density equations, put that together and say, hey, $105, or $125 in Rogers, $138 in Bentonville for your size home specifically should be your cleaning fee. And ideally, that should be a direct pass-through from you as a host to your guest. Backup takes the $105 in this case, takes our margin, pays out cleaners immediately that day. They love that. They get paid immediately.
How are you paying them? What through what app are you doing that through?
Venmo.
Okay.
A business Venmo account. I know that has some connotations, but Venmo has been amazing. Our cleaners have loved it. We've gotten amazing feedback. It's a differentiator for cleaners staying on our product.
Okay. Thanks.
Great question.
Are you able to bill for the tech or the op tech, the quality assurance as well as part of that? I mean, how are you doing that?
You did it. Exactly. Customers choose, it's an opt-in, opt-out model.
Okay.
Customers.
So they can pay extra to have inspected and they don't have to pay.
Exactly.
This is just the last question. Are you using super users to be those op techs? So your best cleaners who you've had a long relationship with, is that kind of how you kind of grab it? You can make more by being that. Okay.
Exactly.
Got it.
You should be on our advisory board. Those are great thoughts. Yeah. That's exactly what we're doing.
Okay. No, it's very applicable to real life for me. So this is the easy one to get.
Yeah.
You did a really good job with your presentation. I think we're supposed to wrap up, so I'll turn it back over to MK.
MK, I think you're muted unless.
The most frequently said question on Zoom, right? I think you're muted. And if you had one last question to ask the team before we wrap up.
Yeah, so here locally, we have one restaurant that was doing really well and ended up having to change their name because of a trademark that was already registered. So the question I was sort of getting at earlier was, do you feel like you have the ability to use the brand name Backup? Can you talk about that?
Angela, as someone in law, I feel like I love that you're asking that question. We're working with our lawyer, Meredith Lowry, actively on that, trying to distinguish how Backup can copyright its name. We love the name. We love that it empowers. We love every part about it. As a copyright, we're on that path trying to figure out if it is possible to copyright it, because I think most people, for us, the domain is owned by Norton. And so it's a tough one, but we're prepared to pivot and rename our business if we have to. We realize that copyright is important, and we're going to work really hard to keep the name Backup, because we believe that's a great name for our business, but we have other possible contingency plans to go with and domains owned.
All right. Thank you, judges. Thank you, team. Good job. We're out of time. So good luck, and stay tuned for our awards announcement at noon.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all so very much.
Good morning. Welcome to the finals of the Heartland Challenge. Up next, we have Euroloft from Washington University. Team, as a reminder, you have 15 minutes to present, and that will be followed by 20 minutes of Q&A moderated by our lead judge, MK Marsden. As a reminder, the chat function is public, so you shouldn't use it unless you have a technical question. You're responsible for keeping your own time. I'll let you know when your time is up and you can finish the sentence that you're on. And with that, I will hand it over to MK to kick off the judge introductions. Good luck.
Good morning, gentlemen. Nice to meet you. I'm MK Marsden, lead judge for this year's finals. I've been judging the business plan competition since it started about 37 years ago. I'm a serial entrepreneur, biology, computer science, double minor. I've launched 8 companies in 7 countries and just delighted to be here to learn about your business. Bobby F., can I ask you to introduce yourself, please?
Hi, this is Bobby Franklin. I'm president and CEO of the National Venture Capital Association in Washington, D.C., and I've spent the last 30 years on various policy issues and lobbying for a variety of industries.
Thank you, sir. Cleve?
I'm Cleep Brewer. I'm the co-founder of New Road Capital Partners. We do growth equity investing. We're investing out of our 3rd fund, have a little over 400 million of assets under management.
Thanks, sir. Bradley?
Bradley McBride, Managing Director of Recurring Capital Partners in Austin, Texas. I've been an investment banker, growth equity, private equity investor my whole career, investing debt and equity, mainly in software businesses.
Thanks, sir. Angela?
Good morning. Angela Grayson, principal member and founder of Precipice IP. We are a science and technology law boutique.
Thank you. And Bobby S.
I'm Bobby Sandage. I'm 35 years in the pharmaceutical business, new drug development. I work for 2 different venture funds and a foundation now investing in life science companies.
Okay, those are your judges. Gentlemen, all the best with your presentation today.
Thank you, judges. Okay. So imagine going to the bathroom every 2 hours, even in the middle of the night, but not being able to urinate no matter how hard you try. Hello, we are Euroloft, and we are providing immediate relief of Bph symptoms. Benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, is the non-cancerous enlargement of the prostate. The prostate sits below the bladder and surrounds the urethra where urine flows. Normally, urine should pass easily through the prostate during urination, but in patients with BPH, the enlarged prostate compresses the urethra and the urine cannot pass through. Blocking of urine flow leads to inability to empty the bladder, difficulty starting urination, as well as frequent and urgent urination even at night. These symptoms not only severely affect patients' quality of life, but can also compromise their health. BPH affects 50% of men in their 50s and 90% of men 80 years and older. This translates to 40 million BPH patients in the United States, 500 million patients worldwide, and a $34 billion global BPH treatment market. Current BPH medications need to be taken daily for years as they have only transient effects. They can also cause side effects such as dizziness that can be debilitating to daily life activities. Invasive surgeries such as transurethral resection of the prostate remove parts of the prostate as shown in these pictures. Due to their invasive nature, these surgeries can cause severe sexual complications and bleeding. They also require general anesthesia, several days of hospitalization, and a long recovery period. We are developing a minimally invasive solution that provides immediate and permanent relief. The short procedure will be possible with just local anesthesia and cause minimal complications. Our implant will be delivered through the urethra using this delivery device. Each disposable delivery device will contain one implant. The biocompatible implant consists of nitinol anchors, shown in the picture, and monofilament suture. The materials and the transurethral approach were chosen based on the FDA guidelines. With the anchors deployed outside of the prostate, our implant will compress the prostate consistently to restore urination. This will provide immediate and permanent relief after a short procedure. The prostate anatomy will be preserved without any resection or tissue damage that can cause complications. We have received our utility patent. Feasibility tests showed our implant can be adjusted to create a channel in all prostate sizes. This means 2 implants are sufficient, 1 on each side of the prostate, to provide consistent clinical results. Compared to our competitor, Eurolift, which has a fixed implant length of 8 millimeters, our patented adjusted implant can compress a larger area of the prostate with fewer implants, leading to a more cost-effective and superior surgical outcome. Animal cadaver tests with bovine prostates showed the anchors can be placed safely outside the prostate to compress the prostate tissue. Dr. Errett, our clinical advisor, has done validation tests in both laboratory and operational settings. Using endoscopy, he was able to perform the procedure on his own and compress the prostate model. He was satisfied with the immediate compression and the adjustability of the implant. Dr. Errett saw a clear advantage of our implant over our competitors. He also expected a short operation time, ease of use, high efficacy, and unlikely adverse events. Our implant will offer immediate and permanent relief expected from surgeries, as well as minimal complications and post-operative care. The short procedure can be done in the office setting under local anesthesia. For patients, this means returning to normal life sooner without serious sexual complications and with less financial burden. For hospitals, this means saving resources and performing up to 3 more procedures and having $3,000 more in profit per surgery day. For clinics, this means performing procedures in office instead of referring patients to hospitals. In addition to combining these benefits of surgery and medication, our procedure will be easy to perform and provide a more cost-effective surgical outcome. Current laser resection procedures require a long training period for the surgeons. Eurolift can produce inconsistent results and can have a high cost depending on the prostate size. We will offer the most cost-effective BPH treatment with superior surgical outcomes. Medication is the first-line treatment, with 62% of BPH patients taking daily medications. However, about 23% of these patients discontinue medications due to inadequate relief or side effects. Patients consider surgery when their symptoms are not resolved, but they are afraid of complications. As a result, only 3% of BPH patients go through a surgery each year. There is a market opportunity between these alternatives. By providing immediate and permanent relief without complications, we will attract not only patients who need surgery, but also those who are not satisfied with daily medications. Our predicate device, Eurolift, is a more recent, minimally invasive procedure that staples the prostate with implants. This procedure was also designed to address the gap between medications and invasive surgeries. However, due to limitations in reimbursement and clinical aspects, Eurolift has been unable to address this market. First, each Eurolift implant compresses a small, fixed area of the prostate, which means as the prostate size increases, more implants are required and the cost also increases. However, most private insurance companies have a reimbursement cap at 4 or 6 implants. This is not enough for approximately 40% of BPH patients because they have a prostate larger than 60 grams. Again, insurance programs won't cover Eurolift for these patients. Also, urologists have to choose the number of implants and implant locations based on the patient's prostate anatomy, which requires longer training periods for urologists. Our solution circumvents these problems by requiring only 2 implants, which can be fully covered by insurance companies. Our delivery method is simple to use by surgeons, and urologists will know exactly how many implants to use and where to place them after just a short training period compared to Eurolift.
We have identified 4 major customers: surgeons, hospitals, patients, and insurance programs. Surgeons are the end users of our device. They are our key customers as they can recommend our procedure to patients and advocate for purchasing our device to the hospital administrators. Administrators will then decide to purchase our device and offer our procedure to the patients. CMS and private insurance companies will cover our procedure based on the CPT code and patient's insurance plans. During customer discovery, the patient needs to be identified where minimal sexual complications and a lower procedural cost. For surgeons, performing more procedures will give them more physician compensation. For hospital administrators and insurance companies, we need to make sure our financial values align with their expectations. We have talked with reimbursement experts to look at the CPT codes we'll be using and calculate the financial values. The cost savings for hospitalization, operating rooms, and general anesthesia will benefit both patients and insurance companies. We provide positive incentives to hospitals as our short procedure allows for faster patient circulation. This saves operating resources, as well as realizing up to 3 more procedures and $3,000 more in profit per surgery day compared to invasive surgeries. In addition, clinics can realize more profit as clinicians perform new procedures instead of prescribing medications or referring patients to hospitals. There is a huge market opportunity that we can capture. The global BPH treatment market is $34 billion and growing, with an aging population more interested in quality of life. The serviceable addressable market for BPH surgery is $12.6 billion, and our serviceable obtainable market is $4.3 billion. For FDA clearance, we will use a 510K pathway with Eurolift as our predicate device. We will have pre-sub meetings with the FDA to plan and confirm our regulatory strategy. Also, we will reach out to urologists by attending American Urological Association conferences and publishing papers like the Journal of Urology. We will be using existing CPT codes for reimbursement. Shortly after FDA clearance, we will expand to European markets by getting CE mark certification. We plan to do our initial launch in St. Louis, targeting major hospitals where we have established urologist connections. Our sales representatives will market our device to hospitals and bring our device to hospitals for each procedure. Our revenue will be transaction-based, with our devices being sold to hospitals for each procedure. Each procedure will need 2 devices, which translates to a device cost of $2,000 and a net manufacturing margin of 85%. Our exit strategy will be either M&A or IPO. For reference, in 2017, NeoTract, which manufactures our predicate device Eurolift, was acquired by Teleflex for $1.1 billion. Our biggest challenges include regulatory approval and physician adoption. We have confirmed with regulatory specialists that with the 510K pathway, clinical trials will likely not be required. We will perform all the required preclinical and animal studies to show the safety and efficacy of our device. Using Eurolift as our predicate device will also help us with the regulatory requirements. To convince urologists to perform our procedure, we will work with urologists at teaching hospitals who are key opinion leaders and can provide authoritative data. Another challenge is making sure the existing CPT codes will provide adequate coverage and payment. We are working with reimbursement experts and health economists to analyze the financial implications of using the existing CPT codes for our procedure. Through various competitions and medical device accelerators, we have received $52,000 in non-dilutive funding. With this initial funding, we were able to file our patent and do multiple iterations of prototyping and testing. Throughout this process, we have worked with urologists to identify the market needs, perform validation tests, and refine our prototype. We will finish our minimum viable product and set up our manufacturing process by June 2021. We will start preclinical testing and animal studies this year with the goal of FDA submission in 2022. We are raising $620,000 to prepare our FDA application. $50,000 from the Heartland Challenge will help us make our minimum viable product and conduct initial preclinical tests. Upon FDA clearance, our target is 100 cases per month, which translates to an annual revenue potential of $2.4 million. When we enter the European market in the third quarter of 2024 through local distributors, our monthly target will increase from 250 to 450 procedures. With the distributors taking 30% of the margin, our target annual revenue will be $7.7 million for 2024. Once we expand to other markets, this will increase to 2,500 monthly cases and annual revenue potential of $49 million in 2027. The monthly target cases are based on our competitors' performance. We are planning to raise $620K of seed fund rounding this year. We are currently in conversation with Dornier MedTech, which is a pioneer in urological devices. We will raise another $1.5 million next year to conduct clinical studies and publish results, which will help us convince more urologists to perform our procedure. After we file for FDA clearance next year, we expect 6 to 12 months for the review period and clearance so that we can enter the market in 2023. In 2024, we will raise $10 million, which will be used for multi-centered randomized clinical studies with 5 years of follow-up. We are engineers with a passion for developing medical devices. Chang is in charge of the regulatory affairs and has experience in the 510K process. Frank is in charge of manufacturing. Kevin has worked as a clinical engineer for minimally invasive surgical devices, and he's in charge of clinical affairs. Raphael has experience in R&D engineering at a medical device startup, and he is in charge of product design. Dr. Eric, our clinical advisor, is a urologist at Barnes-Jewish Hospital. Our business mentor, Ryan, has taken 2 medical devices startups to scale, and our technical mentor, Olaf, has 19 years of experience in the medical device industry. We believe that we can address patients who are either taking medications or considering surgeries by offering them a less invasive approach that can resolve their urinary symptoms without any long-term complications. Thank you for your time, and we will now open up for questions.
Great presentation, gentlemen. Thank you. Which judge would like to start with their questions? Yes, Bobby, thank you.
Hi, very nice presentation, interesting product. So how long do you think it will last to keep the area open? Because as you know, implants like this, the tissue will in fact grow around it. So that's my first question.
First of all, thank you. And also, thank you for the good question. We intend our implant to be permanent. Also, you talked about the tissue sort of surrounding growing or sort of healing around and sealing the implant. And that's actually beneficial to us since many of the problems that arise with implants is incrustation. And when the tissues actually sort of get in between our implant and sort of urine or what have you, that actually prevents the contact between the urine and the implant. So that actually helps with, so there are less incrustation. Our competitor Eurolift, I think, going back to the, how long our implant might last. Our competitor Eurolift has about 5 years worth of data, and I think it shows a long-lasting effect. So from going off of that, we intend this to be permanent.
What's the recovery period after the surgery?
We are expecting around 2 weeks, which is also similar to what the patients who receive Eurolift have to recover for.
So does the patient have to have tried Flomax before a urologist will recommend Eurolift first and ultimately your product?
I'm not sure if I heard you correctly. I think you said for surgeons to recommend our product, would they have to go through medications first? Is that?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. We do not believe so. We suspect maybe some insurance companies might have those limitations for your Eurolift, but not technically, no. Nobody has to go through medications first to be recommended our product. It's anybody can hopefully.
And my final question is: you mentioned you have to go to the hospital, but this can be done as an outpatient. A lot of urologists have many surgical suites in their office. Do you think this could be done in the urologist's office surgical suite himself?
Yes, that is one of our many advantages that we believe we can sort of put it out there. In office with just with local anesthesia, that's one of our many advantages. Private, so therefore private clinics, there will be also one of our main targets. Well, of course, but patients will obviously have to go talk with the urologist about, if they want general anesthesia during their procedure. But yeah, in office works perfectly.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bobby. Bobby Franklin?
I want to make sure I heard you correctly. Did you say that this is adjustable? It sounded like, as you were describing the principal difference between your product and the product that is in the market today, that you are citing some of the data over the last 5 years. I guess I'm trying to better understand the difference between your product and that product. And it seemed as though you said yours was more permanent. Could you elaborate?
Absolutely. Yeah. So our product, when during operation, the surgeon can decide how much they want to compress. Also, that depends on the prostate size and the shape. But yes, it is adjustable during operation. Once it's in there, as long as everything's okay, we intend this to be permanent.
Okay. And then last question around FDA. It sounds like you believe that because of existing CPT codes and other things, that you don't have the same sort of pathway for a medical device approval from the FDA, which is normally the FDA approval process. And then, of course, additional studies to understand the efficacy or the savings before you can get CMS reimbursement. So your belief is because there's already been these products in the marketplace, you don't have to do that. Did I understand you, though, correctly to say that your review period, you only anticipate being 6 to 12 months with the FDA?
Yes, that is correct. And that's just a kind of typical review period for urological devices with the FDA 510K in general.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. Bradley?
Yeah, one quick question. I guess curious, why do you think, you mentioned that 3% of cases opt for surgery. Why do you think these minimally invasive solutions like Eurolift, and I think Resim is one you mentioned in your business plan, why are those solutions not driving that percentage higher? And why do you think that your product coming to market will?
Great question. Thank you. Well, Eurolift is expensive. Most of the time, like we said, at least around 40%, and at least 40% will have a prostate size that is larger than 40 grams to 60 grams, and that's almost the maximum prostate size that you could just use 4 to 6 implants when using Eurolift. Other invasive surgeries, of course, we talked about, they have severe complications. So a long, recovery period. So we believe that's one of the most important driving factors why people do not choose surgery, and we intend to address that market.
And just as a follow-up to that, real quick, what is the market perception of Eurolift? Obviously, a presumably smart buyer was willing to pay 8 times revenue for it. So what is the market perception of that product? And are you solving a problem that you guys identify, or does the market see it as a problem as well?
So urologists think it's a kind of a promising device. I mean, it really is. It's way better than like currently existing methods, but if patients have a larger prostate size than usual, then the procedure will quickly get expensive because Eurolift requires more than 6 implants in that case, and each implant is about $1,200 in general for Eurolift. And so if you say you want about 8 implants, then that's around like $10K. And that's kind of why Eurolift hasn't been able to kind of take the market by storm, because of those insurance reimbursement plans issues that we talked about, but also because of its general high cost for about 40% of the patients.
Got it. Thank you. Great presentation.
Thanks, Bradley. Angela, your questions, please.
Thank you. Great presentation, guys. Totally agree. One of the things I was curious about is whether or not the company filed the intellectual property or university. That's my first question. Can you guys speak to that?
Yeah, so we've actually received our first utility patent in South Korea, and we've currently filed a PCT application for worldwide patents, and we also have filed for the U.S. patents, and that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay, so currently you don't have patent protection in the U.S., which is, it sounds like the market you are going after.
Yes, well, we filed it, but it's not been finalized yet. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And the other question I have is just looking at the photos that you provided during your presentation. From sort of someone who's not studied this very, very closely, it seems like your product and the Eurolift product have some similarities. Have you guys done a sort of, what we call a freedom to operate analysis to make sure that you actually can use this product in the marketplace, that you won't be excluded, and whether or not you might need to take a license from someone? Can you speak to that?
Yes, so we've actually conducted patent searches with our patent attorney, and our patent attorney didn't see any infringements and expect that we will have freedom to operate with our current patent file.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Angela. So I had a question about who owns the IP. So what is the relationship between the inventor and your organization, and what are the relationships there?
So it's kind of a tricky process, but first of all, it's not, our patent isn't associated with the university. It's kind of directly owned by us, the inventors. And our kind of long-term plan is, once we get that patent we've successfully kind of incorporated our tech company and taken it to scale, we want to turn over the IP to the company.
But currently the IP lives where? Who would be the legal owner of the IP today?
It's our team members.
Individually?
No, we filed jointly.
Okay. And where is the inventor, the doctor from the...
So the doctor isn't, our clinical advisor isn't the inventor. He's our clinical advisor. Okay. And he's cooperating with us to gather data.
Okay, so he's not one of the people filing?
No.
Okay, so the filers are just the founders of the company?
Yes, that's true.
Okay, that was confusing both in the presentation and in the plan.
Okay.
But your answer is impressive, that you guys actually created the patent. So definitely you need to let everybody know that. Usually it's the teacher that did it or the advisor. So that's really cool. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You mentioned MVP, that you're working on the MVP and getting that ready and the device ready, but yet somebody has been putting this on I think on bovine pigs, I guess. What are they using if there's not an MVP? I'm a little confused, and that just could be my inexperience in the scientific space.
So we're using kind of like our current 1x scale prototypes right now, and we're currently testing our mechanism and our design. So the MVP will be closer to the final design that we want, and our MVP will be used for FDA clearance.
Okay. And then how big is Eurolift? I didn't see any market comps to kind of understand how big they were, or are you able to see that within that public company to know more about them and who you're competing with?
I was on mute.
Sorry, we do not have a lot of information about that, but they were acquired by Neotract, which was the manufacturer of Eurolift, was acquired. I think that was, correct me if I'm wrong, Chang.
Oh yeah, so Neotract, which manufactures Eurolift, was acquired, by Teleflex, and at that time of acquisition, it was Neotract's 2017 revenue was around $125 million, and it had treated about $35,000 men worldwide. Sorry,
35,000 men?
Yes.
Got it.
Anything else, Cleep?
No, thank you.
Bobby S., you have additional questions?
I had one question. You have you scheduled your pre-sub meetings with FDA yet? And when do you expect to do that?
Oh, sorry. So we haven't currently scheduled a pre-sub meeting yet, but we're expecting that this summer we'll be able to get to it. We're currently working with our regulatory specialists to kind of prepare for the pre-sub meeting.
Great, thanks.
Can we go back to your fundraising schedule, please? I want to get a handle on how much money you actually have to raise over the life cycle of the business. Thank you. Okay, so the current ask is for the 650,000, is that correct? No, let's go back to the fundraising slide, please. Yeah, great. So we need 60,000 for June, July. But the current raise is 620,000. I'm going to go back to Angela's question. What are we applying the 620,000 to? And I guess one of my questions really is, why are you raising so much so fast with so many milestones? Why not cut it into tranches, I guess is really what I'm driving at.
So this whole $620,000 is our kind of schedule for the FDA submission.
Okay.
And this is because there's a lot of preclinical trials we have to do and animal testing. And so clinical trials include, biocompatibility, mechanical stress testing. And we want to de-risk, our product getting rejected by the FDA or getting, turned over to de novo, which is the worst thing that can happen. And so this is kind of our way of de-risking our product before we actually do the 510K.
And I don't invest in this space, so I'll lean towards the rest of our judges, but do investors normally invest from idea to FDA submission as a single investment? Is that a normal investment strategy for investors?
I'll take that. We normally invest to a valuation inflection milestone. And so going to an FDA approval or a 510K, it's just a notice of you're ready to market and you're using it. You'll get an acknowledgement from FDA, it's technically not an approval. It's an actual perfect milestone because that's a true value inflection point. You just don't get much value for it until that point.
Fantastic. Thanks, Bobby. Anybody have a last question before we wrap up? Yes,
Great job.
I'm a non-science person, and I thought your presentation was actually really good to help everybody understand what you're doing. So I thought it was really well done. I want to congratulate you. That and creating your own IP for a company at this stage in your careers is amazing. So congrats.
Thank you so much.
I agree. Very nice presentation.
Angela, I think you have one last question. Maybe you're on mute. There you go.
One last question. Yeah, I just wanted to give Cleep an opportunity to give the team much deserved kudos. The last question I have is really, I know that you're trying to do this raise and your timeline of June is pretty close. I'm curious, I can't remember if you said you've incorporated your company and when you plan to assign the intellectual property to the company, because I'm sure before someone makes an investment, they're going to want to make sure that the intellectual property is owned by the organization.
So yes, that's kind of like a close priority for us right now. We're trying to incorporate soon, and that way we can start on getting the IP assigned to the company.
Any follow-on, Angela?
Well, the only thing, I was looking at the business plan, and it wasn't clear to me that the granted patent was actually granted outside the United States. Since we're in the US and we're talking about a US FDA process, I think most people might assume that the granted patent is actually a US patent. So, I could have overlooked that, but it didn't seem overly clear to me. And I think that that's probably something that I would encourage you to make clear for, future presentations.
Yes, that's great feedback. Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much for your presentation. Good luck with the rest of the day. We'll talk to you soon.
Great job.
Thank you, everybody.
Good morning. Welcome back to the final round of the Heartland Challenge. Next up, we have BioSeal XE from Oklahoma State University. Good morning, team. As a reminder, you've got 15 minutes for your presentation. That will be followed by 20 minutes of Q&A moderated by our lead judge, MK Marsden. The chat function is public, so don't use it unless you have technical difficulties. You'll be responsible for monitoring your own time, as you know, and I'll let you know when your time is up and you can finish that sentence. Good luck, and I will hand it over to MK to kick off the judge introductions.
Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome. I'm MK Marsden, lead judge this year. Been judging the finals of the competition for about 35 years since it started in Austin, Texas. Serial entrepreneur myself, biology, computer science undergrad, launched 8 companies in 7 countries. Just delighted to be here and wishing you all the best this morning. Now I'd like to introduce Angela.
Good morning. I'm Angela Grayson, principal member of Precipice IP. We are a science and technology law boutique.
Thank you, Angela. Bobby S.
Hi, I'm Bobby Sandage. Over 35 years in the pharmaceutical industry, new drug development, the last 10 working in venture capital for 2 different organizations and a family foundation. I've been a part of and running 3 biotech startups over the last 25 years.
Bobby's being chauffeured to his next meeting. Bradley?
Hi, Bradley McBride with Recurring Capital Partners in Austin. I've been investing in growth stage tech companies for about 15 years now. Paid my dues with investment banking before that, and happy to be here.
Thank you. And Cleep?
Hi. First of all, congratulations for making it to the finals. This is Cleep Brewer. I'm the founder of New Road Capital Partners here in Rogers, Arkansas. We do growth stage investing out of our 3rd fund, a little over 400 million of assets under management.
Fantastic. And Bobby F.
Hi, I'm Bobby Franklin. I'm president and CEO of the National Venture Capital Association here in Washington, D.C. And I've spent more than 30 years in Washington at the intersection of law, public policy, lobbying, and business interests.
And that's your panel of judges. All the best this morning, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. So should we start? Hello, everyone. We are BioSeal XE. I'm Said Manuchehri, Chief Technology Officer and the founder of company. Today, I'm going to present an advanced wound healing system for horses. Talking about the market problem, I want to start with this beautiful ranch. So the question is, what's the problem? The answer is this ranch is far from veterinary or medical centers. So when a horse gets injured, which is a common thing in these types of ranch, the ranch owner will be into trouble. In this case, she will have 2 main options: taking the injured horse to a veterinary center or calling a vet, and second, using current wound care products. Going through the first option, we will face 4 main problems: high cost of vet visit, which is about $500 to $2,500. The long distance that we considered at least 30 minutes, I will discuss why, and the transportation expense and personal time. It's very important to know that the horse injury can get worse by waiting. According to our interviews with vets, if a horse continue to bleeding for more than 30 seconds, the risk of hypovolemic shock will increase. That will threaten the horse's life. So it seems that this option doesn't work properly. Choosing the second option, using the current wound care product, we will notice that the current wound care product in the market will be able to only deal with healing the wound or stop bleeding or disinfect the wound. So they are not effective enough. They need a vet or a professional to apply in most cases. Their healing rate is too slow and they last for 1 or 2 days. So because of that, they will need the change of dressing. So here we found the pain and the problem for the ranch owners in the remote area. And we noticed that there is a gap between this problem and the services in the market. And we noticed that our product can fulfill this problem. Because of that, we chose our beachhead market. So the question is how your solution works. It's simple. Consider this injury, we will inject it to that, and it will do everything with one application. What's the mechanism? In fact, we combine the blood clotting agent, fibrin-based blood clotting agents, and then our bioadhesive start polymerization and form the wound dressing. So how do you omit the bandage? We add a super glue to the formulation, which makes these products form on the surface of wound. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you BioSeal XE, a wound bioadhesive with 6 fantastic features. Immediate blood clotting, it stops bleeding in less than 30 seconds. It accelerated wound healing by the ability to load drugs like painkillers and growth factors. It prevents infection by antibacterial and antimicrobial features. And you don't need to be a medical expert or have medical training to apply these products. By using this product, you will save wet bill and dressing change bill. And it's important, with only one application, it lasts for 2 or 3 weeks. It's very important that for our beachhead market, which is ranchers in a remote area for horses, we do not need any FDA or USDA regulatory approval, which makes our product time and capitally efficient. Talking about the current status, we have 2 years of completed lab research. We finalized the formulation for horse uses, did the characterization tests. In next step, we will make the prototype and do in vitro and in vivo tests. We had 80 interviews with professionals in different fields, from physicians to AMTs and ranch owners. And we got very great feedbacks from ranch owners in remote areas. And because of this enthusiasm, we chose our beachhead market. We have the intellectual property of this product with OSU disclosure number you can see. In second year, we will go to file the patent with help of OSU. OSU will pay that, and we are going to subject to licensing agreement with OSU and anticipate 2.5% royalty for that. Talking about current wound care products in the market, we have 2 main segments. At first, we should stop bleeding. We have lots of product in this segment. In the next step, we should have the bandage and dressing, wound healing products. We have lots of product in this segment also, but we can proudly say that BioSeal XE is the only product in the market that can deal with both. That makes our first mover, and this is our technological advancement. Talking about 10 main features of good product in the market, proudly we can say that BioSeal XE performs better than competitors in all of them. I want to Kevin to continue the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Saeed. I want to talk about the beachhead market. According to the 2018 USDA census, there are about 460,000 horse owners that live on remote ranches and farms. On those farms, there's about 2.8 million horses. Based on our initial customer discovery interviews, we found out that our customers could potentially buy the product up to 4 times per year. That results in a long lifetime value of $114. Our customer acquisition cost is $22, and that results in a ratio from 5 to 1. This results in a recurring market of $41 million annually. In terms of the savings to our customers, they're going to save money for their time, the blood clotting effect, the easy application, and preventing infection. We determined that the unit value proposition of our product will result in $755. That's a 12x cost to benefit ratio to the remote horse owner. And the low cost of our product, we're selling our product at $60 a unit, is a low risk entry for our customers to try and use BioSeal XC. In terms of our market, as I mentioned, our initial beachhead market is $41 million a year. In year 2, we're going to expand our marketing to all horse owners in the United States. That will increase our annual market to $104 million annually. And then in year 3, we're going to rebrand BioSeal XC to BioSeal Vet and sell it to veterinarians. We found out through our initial interviews with vets that they can use it on other animals, dogs, cats, goats, even turtles. And that potential market is $1.1 billion. BioSeal XC can be used for humans. It has that ability. It can be used for wound care. It can be used as an alternative to sutures. And so it has the potential for human use. And with going into that market, the potential could be anywhere between $9.7 to $28 billion. Our business model is simple. We're going to outsource manufacturing to an existing pharmaceutical company in hopes that they will want to acquire BioSeal and add that as part of their product line. Our cost to manufacture, our cost of goods sold is $12 a unit. In terms of marketing, our beachhead's really appealing. What we learned through our interviews is that they read trade magazines like the Western Horse Show or Horseman. They go to trade shows across the country, whether it's the Western Stock Show in Denver or the main event in Las Vegas. But more importantly, we found that every day on Google, there's 5,000 searches for horse cut, horse wound, and equine wound management. That is 1.8 million searches every year for people looking to a solution to treat a horse wound. In terms of our sales, we're going to do a B2C model. We're going to use an online store hosted by Shopify. And we're also going to use indirect partners, whether it's Amazon, Murdoch's, or Vet Valley. We're going to include a second stream of revenue, and we're going to do that through shipping. We're going to ship through United States Postal Service. Our estimated cost is $1.95 a unit. We're going to increase that to $4.95. Our management team collectively, between the two of us, we have 40 years of business experience. We have 12 years of STEM education and research. We have 10 published journal articles, an approved patent, and 1 successful launch of a family lifestyle business. Saeed, with his background in chemical engineering, will serve as the Chief Technology Officer. My background with entrepreneurship, I will serve as the Chief Executive Officer. And we are guided by an excellent advisory board. We have 2 equine veterinarians on our board from prestigious vet schools. We have one from Oklahoma State University and the other one's from Kansas State University. We have a technical advisor to assist us with the product development, who's a professor at OSU. And then we have a business advisor to help us with the launch and the eventual exit of BioSeal XC, and he is a professor at OSU as well. But most importantly, we have a horse owner. We have a stable manager from a ranch up in Tabernash, Colorado, and she runs about 50 head of horses there. In terms of funding, in our first 2 years, we're going to be focused on product development. In the first year, to complete the product development, we're going to rely on grant funding, whether it's through the National Science Foundation, USDA, or any other grant sources out there. This money will be used to finish the prototype, to do in vitro, in vivo evaluations, and then move on to the alpha unit test. Now, in the second year, we're going to seek funding from an angel syndication. And we're looking at about $950,000 in order to complete our funding and to launch the product into market. In return for this $950,000, we're estimating that it'll result in a 20% stake into BioSeal. Now, $250,000 of that money is going to be used to finish the product development, in which that will be completing the field beta test. In year 4, we launched the business, and then we go to market. Now, in year 3, we launched the business and we go to market. We anticipate $2.7 million of revenue in our first year, and that's selling 42,000 units of BioSeal to the market. We do expect to be profitable in our first year with an overall profit margin of 13%. The good news is we don't have to sell all those units. If we sell at least 24,000 units, we will have enough cash flow to go into our second year of operations, which will be year 4. And we're going to have an increase in revenue in year 4, and this is motivated by a lot of things. We're going to increase our marketing efforts to our beachheads. We're going to be attracting new customers from our beachhead. We're going to be marketing to all horse owners in the United States. But more importantly, we are going to have recurring purchases from our existing customers. And as a result, we're going to be decreasing our acquisition cost, which is going to result in an overall increase of our overall profit margin from 13 to 42%. In year 5, we're going to have that same trend going. We're going to be bringing in 20% new customers. We're going to have the recurring customers. And we're also going to be launching BioSeal Vet. And BioSeal Vet will add about $1.6 million in revenue and about $1.2 million to the gross profit margin. And again, because of the lowering customer acquisition cost, we will increase that gross profit margin a little bit from 42 to 47%. Our exit strategy is simple. Sometime between year 6 to year 8, we look to be acquired by one of these 4 companies. These 4 companies are actively acquiring companies similar to BioSeal XC. They've been doing this over the last 5 years. BioSeal XC has first mover product advantage. It's the only product on the market that immediately stops bleeding within seconds and accelerates wound healing with only one application. It has a tremendous attractive unit value proposition of $755. It's a low risk entry for consumers to try and use our product, and they get much benefit at a 12x benefit to cost ratio for it. There's no USDA or FDA regulatory approval, which means we only need 1 round of capital funding to launch this product into market. This is a highly motivated customer base. They are looking for something to help them on these remote locations. They read trade magazines, they go to horse shows. We can effectively target this market with our messaging. And as you already heard, there are 1.8 million searches on Google every year. The initial beachhead market is a $41 million annually recurring market. By expanding that into horse owners, it will become $104 million each year. And then by going into vets and potentially human use later in the future, the market size just continues to increase. We anticipate upon exit that we can return a 16x return to our investors. And keep in mind, this is a capital efficient investment. We're asking for nearly $1 million to go into a market that's worth potentially $40 to $100 million. So it's a 1 to 40 to 100x market with that. BioSeal XC. The XC stands for extreme, because oftentimes horses need extreme healing. Thank you for your time, and we'd be happy to answer any of your questions.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Bradley, would you kick off our questions, please?
Sure. Great presentation.
Thank you.
One on the raise side first. Just curious how you guys are thinking about. It's a bit unusual to see a priced round at this stage versus another structure. Just curious how you guys thought about kind of structuring the round.
The funding capital round?
Yes.
Yeah. So in terms of our raise, it was making sure that we had enough cash flow to launch the market with it. And then in terms of determining our return on investment, I relied on a report from Born Partners that was issued in 2018 based on animal biohealth firms that have been sold over that period of time. And the average EBITDA return on that's about 11 to 13x, but those companies were in larger markets. So I took it down to about a 5.5x EBITDA for ours. And then with the 20% equity stake, that's how it resulted in the 16x.
Yeah, I guess I was just curious. You can structure, there's convertible notes, there's safes, there's, that just how you guys thought about doing a priced round at this early stage versus another more common structure.
Well, it's a seed stage right now, and we wanted to be attractive, and we wanted to make it attractive to get investors early on so we can complete our product development and get it to market fast.
Very good. On the business side, so you guys have obviously, you're going to market with a direct-to-consumer model. Just curious if you guys have thought about other channels there, complementary to or in lieu of that, retail channels, whatever it may be, and how you think about the efficiency of acquiring customers across those different channels.
We went with the B2C because we feel like this is really an efficient way to acquire customers. The cost of marketing to these customers is very low. To bid on a pay-per-click impression right now is 30 to 50 cents on these keywords of horse wound, horse cut, horse puncture. In my last business, I was paying anywhere between $50 to $100 for a keyword to convert. And so that's why it made it really appealing to go out there and attack them directly rather than using a distributorship. Now, when we do BioSeal that way we will rely on classic distributorships for that.
Got it. Thank you.
Angela, you have some questions?
Yes, thank you. Kevin, great presentation by you and Saeed. You guys did a great job. Hats off to you and congratulations for making it this far. I wanted to ask you if you could clarify your intellectual property strategy. In the documents, your business plan, I wasn't clear whether you guys had an issued patent or whether you are I don't know what an approved patent means. I don't know if you're saying notice of allowance. Can you clarify? And I have one or two other follow-on questions, but could you clarify for me?
Sure. Saeed, why don't you answer that?
Yeah. At the moment, we've disclosed our IP at the Oklahoma State University. So in the next step, by getting all documents collected in second year, we will find the patent by help of Oklahoma State University. Oklahoma State University will pay all patenting things. That would be $50,000 to $100,000, the range between that. And after that, when we want to launch our product, our final products, we will have a licensing agreement with OSU. But if we do not launch that, there will be nothing. So OSU will take this risk and will pay for us. And we will launch, after launching the product, we will have licensing agreement.
Okay, so that's great. So it sounds like what you have is an approved invention disclosure, not an approved, okay. So one question I have, and can I assume that you're an inventor on that disclosure? Is that correct? Who else might be?
Me, my lab mate, and my advisor.
Okay. So the big question I have, because I was afraid you were going to say that, the big question I have is sort of why sort of launch, because this is public. This is a public forum. This is open to the public. You sort of describe what your idea is, your invention even, but you've not filed, it sounds like. So help us understand that strategy.
Yeah, the point is that I want to make it simple. We have blood clotting agents that do that in less than 30 seconds. So we should wipe off it and add dressing. By my polymer expertise, I did both. Apply the product in 30 seconds, it stops bleeding. In 2 or 3 minutes, it would become to form a wound dressing. So in fact, by one application, you buy 2. Omitting the bandage, we add material that I mentioned in my business plan that works as adhesion agent. So that will seal with one application, do 3 things.
Mm-hmm. I guess the question is why not file before you sort of embark on the business plan competition? Because now you've got some timing issues for getting that patent application filed. I'm just curious about that. In other words, why not file first?
So now we have intellectual property of that, and the documentation are in the OSU. So our idea is protected right now, but at OSU, and we didn't mention any detail. So I assume that it's protected right now. So while doing the patent, we will do just things about laws and just owning it officially.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess we feel like we're close enough to even get the patent earlier. That's why we started the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Angela. Bobby, yes?
I have a couple of questions, and because you have the proprietary position, you may not be able to answer. Can you tell me what you're actually using to stop the bleeding, and then what kind of antibiotics have you tested in the polymer that the polymer will actually release and be anti-infective?
Yeah. At the moment, we have lots of fibrin-based blood clotting agents that they work in less than 30 seconds, and they would be applied in severe bleeding form. And we have the polymers that would form in 2 or 3 minutes, biopolymers like chitosan, which is well-known polymer in these applications, and collagen. So forming that scaffold using chitosan and collagen will take 2 or 3 minutes. For the blood clotting, for fibrin-based, we need a liquid. Indeed, less than 2 or 3 minutes, that will do the bleeding, stops the bleeding. And it's important that we have a scaffold that we already have the blood clotting agent in the structure. And this makes our product unique.
And the antibiotics that you're thinking about including?
We do not add antibiotic to our product. The collagen and chitosan will help in this case, but by adding nanosilver, we will make it better.
So chitosan was used they tried using this for use in humans as a topical application for a lot of different things about 25, 30 years ago, but it never made it to the market. Do you have any idea why it didn't make it to the market?
In fact, at the moment, we have several dressings, advanced dressings for human use that, like I showed before, that they have chitosan in their formulation, the combination. So the problem with chitosan would be its mechanical properties. By adding collagen and poly and isopropyl acrylamide, we will make it better.
Thank you.
Pete, do you have any questions?
Just one. You don't have to go through the FDA. So why is it taking you 2 years before you're selling product here? I'm just trying to understand. That's a long time before revenue.
Yeah. If I want to answer this question. The problem is that the long time that clinical trial needs to do that, because we are going to in vitro and in vivo things that is on us. But when you want to start a clinical trial, you should get the consent of horse owners. You should start just collaboration with veterinarian centers. That is very hard to do. Just I'm worried about that. We consider that short, not long. That's the problem is clinical trial part.
Well, appreciate your honesty there. I think that's smart. And opposite of Bradley, I think pricing your round and giving investors true transparency to opportunity and upside, I think is smart. It actually makes people pay attention and look at it versus safe notes, which, to me is using investors' money to help drive up the price before the conversion. So I do tip my hat to you pricing it. to Angela's comment, I think I'm surprised your IP is not filed yet, given some of the disclosures you're making. So I'll ask her more about that in our debrief. But thank you very much. It was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Spoken like a true investor, Cleep.
I just had one question. I thought I heard you say in your presentation as you were describing the product that you put together as adding super glue to it. I assume you mean the actual super glue that is a product well known in the marketplace. And I'm just wondering, are there any complications around that, either the way it's used and then you're reselling it and combining it with other things? Or is there risk associated with this other product?
Sorry about the confusion, but here it's just simple. The material that we will use is dopamine that acts as a super glue. So there is no brand for them and there is no protection for that. We will use it in the structure.
Thank you.
That was a symbolic thing. Sorry about that.
Understand. Thank you.
So we talk about like time and efficiency, and ease, but we don't talk about trust. So when I lived in the hill country of Texas, I had a few horses. And one of the reasons that you don't attempt things yourself is you don't necessarily trust yourself to be qualified to do it. That's often why you call the vet. So now granted, it wasn't quite as remote. So how are you going to establish trust for the product? Because it's not the cost of bandaging the horse, it's the cost of the horse and future infection and things like that. So how are you going to get us to trust in a B2C? How do you get me to trust the product, buy it, and apply it to my first horse?
We identified that as one of our risk factors in the business plan. We realized that would be an issue, psychological issue for some horse owners to overcome. And as part of our marketing strategy, we're going to rely on influencers. Ag teachers in colleges, use some of our veterinarians, and really do a lot of how-to videos to show it and put people at ease, go to the trade shows and demo it. And then we also we found with larger horse owners, especially the remote ones, they are more comfortable doing limited veterinarian care. And that's why it's the initial beachhead market, is because they are more willing to pick up the syringe and apply it. And so then we'll have some testimonials from that we can use to then launch into the broader market, which you would be part of our broader market.
And you're also assuming I have the product on hand, right? Because if you're using the postal service, like there's no way I'm getting it quickly. So you're assuming that I've got it at the ranch, that I've got multiple units on hand. How do I store this?
You store with your other products. What we found from our initial interviews is that horse owners buy these products. When Saeed showed you that 2 slides of the blood clotting and the wound care, they have it in their paddock. They have it in their truck. They have it wherever they have the horses. And this will be the same thing. You'll have to buy it and have it with you.
And the shelf life of our product is 2 years ambient temperature, so there will be no problem about keeping that.
Okay, fantastic. And then the other thing I was a little confused about was the bandaging on top. So I get everything cleaned up, then I administer the bandage. It's a separate product, but it comes with, or how is this all like packaged? What's my rancher experience on this?
What rancher sees is that it will spray on the surface of wound. It sees that he or she sees that, it stops bleeding. And after 2 or 3 minutes, it shows that a foam-like film will start to form on the surface of wound that seals it completely.
Yeah, so it's only one product, and the product creates the film and seals.
Okay, thank you.
In fact, we used the point that blood clotting takes less than 30 seconds, and that polymerization part, in fact, cross-linking part, will take 2 or 3 minutes. Combined together, put in order.
It's not clear in your plan or your presentation, so for your next one. Now I'll turn to Angela to finish up our questions. Oh, sorry, Cleet, I'll get to you. And I will to you, Bobby, yes.
So I wanted to follow up. There is some discussion in your business plan about the royalty that you will likely have to pay the university, 2.5%. I wanted to ask whether or not you'll likely have to reimburse the university for their legal costs. And usually universities will require their startups to reimburse them for the cost that they incur to patent the innovation. And it also sounds like this innovation is subject to an invention, a grant, like a federal grant, and they require also some disclosure requirements. And so can you speak to that, whether or not likely you'll have to reimburse the university?
We will not. And that's one reason why we were using Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has a very aggressive program to help their students and their alumni become entrepreneurs. And that's the beauty of it. They will give you the lab space, the research assistance at their cost. They will put $50,000 to $100,000 into the patent expense. We don't pay them back, but we pay the royalty. And, and I guess in that way, it's the royalty that's paying them back with it. In terms of the grant disclosure, that lets Saeed answer that.
For the grants, we tried to, till now, we used Dr. Ramsey's professorship grant. We didn't use any federal grant, avoiding any problem.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure. Cleet, can you go quickly so we can get Bobby S. in after you?
Yes. So how long does that seal that forms at the surface remain there or before it's no longer effective and obviously the surface becomes more normal?
It's for 2 or 3 weeks.
Bobby S., close us out, please.
So just one item. In your business plan, you talked about using your profits from the animal and vet to do human trials. I've seen companies try this many times, go to the animals first. I've never seen anybody successfully do it because the expense to do the humans are so much that no one's ever been able to start with the animals and finish with humans without raising a ton of additional money, not from the profits of the animal sales. Just FYI.
Well, that's why we need you to invest with us, Bobby, and guide us so we can avoid those type of mistakes.
Good answer.
Gentlemen, thank you. It was a great presentation.
Thank you. Appreciate your time and
Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Yes, great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Hello. Welcome back to the finals of the Heartland Challenge. Next and last up, we have Neurolabs from UCLA. Team, as a reminder, you have 15 minutes to do your presentation. That will be followed by 20 minutes of Q&A moderated by our lead judge, MK Marsden. You'll be responsible for keeping your own time. I'll let you know when your time is up and you can finish the sentence that you're on. As a reminder, the chat is public, so you should only use it for technical difficulties, and best of luck. With that, I'll hand it over to you, MK, to kick off the judge intros.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Good morning, team. MK Marsden. I've been judging the business plan competition since it started in Austin, Texas, about 35 years ago. I'm a serial entrepreneur, bio-computer science background. I've built 8 companies in 7 different countries. Delighted to be here and wish you the best of luck this morning. Angela, could you introduce yourself, please?
Good morning, team. My name is Angela Grayson. I am the principal member and founder of a technology law firm boutique called Precipice IP. Welcome to the finals.
Bobby S., can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Bobby Sandage, 35 years in the pharmaceutical industry.
Bobby's actually commuting from one area.
Venture capital, 2 different companies and a foundation, 3 biotech startups. I think that's enough. Can you hear me?
Bradley, can you introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Good morning. Bradley McBride. I'm with Recurring Capital Partners out of Austin, Texas. Been investing in growth stage, primarily software companies for the last 15 years. And we do both debt and equity investing, and happy to be here.
Thank you. Cleep?
It's Cleep Brewer. I'm one of the co-founders of New Road Capital Partners here in Rogers, Arkansas. We're investing out of our third fund. We do growth equity investing, a little over 400 million of assets under management.
And our final judge, Bobby F.
Hi, I'm Bobby Franklin. I'm president and CEO of the National Venture Capital Association in Washington, D.C. I've spent over 30 years in Washington at the intersection of public policy, politics, and everything that intersects between the business community and the government.
That's your panel of judges. So team, good luck.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Deepa Nagar. I'm a doctor and currently MBA student at UCLA. I've always helped patients fight, but last year I felt very helpless when my father died within 1 month of diagnosis of lung cancer. I was so excited to be part of this amazing team at NOR Labs.
Hi, my name is Alan Schifino. I'm also an executive MBA student at UCLA. When I saw what the group at NOR Labs was working on, I knew that that was a team of which I wanted to be a part. You see, a couple of years ago, my wife was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer that had gone undetected on a mammogram just about 6 months earlier. So I can appreciate what a difference it'll make to be able to detect cancer sooner and start fighting it earlier. And by the way, I'm coming to you from a ship in the Western Pacific. So if my internet connection drops out for a moment, my teammates are ready to jump in.
Thanks, Alan. Hi, my name is Rita Jonak, and I want to tell you why I founded NOR Labs. It was after my father passed away from cancer, and the diagnosis was too late for treatment options. And unfortunately, that story happens all too often. We want to change that narrative. We want happier endings. And in order to do that, we need a better way of diagnosing early and actually giving treatment options and hope to patients and their families. So National Cancer Institute has said that liquid biopsy holds tremendous potential to complement the current standard of screening care. The problem, though, is with the first generation of liquid biopsies that are waiting for that ugly cancer cell to die and show up as dead cellular material in a vial of blood this big. That's your normal blood draw. Now imagine how much dead cellular material needs to exist in that vial of blood to be detectable by the reagents that these first generation technologies are using. That's inherently going to be at the later stages. It's challenging, and they've struggled to detect early stage cancers. We're changing the paradigm completely. We're coming in with a material science approach, an interdisciplinary science approach, and looking at living cellular processes. So exosomes, think of them as UPS trucks. They're the communication vesicles that talk back and forth between cells. They're sending packages, messages. Cancer cells are super chatty. They are giving us the roadmap to find them, to target them, and to kill them. And that's what our platform is doing. So let's talk about how it would work from a patient perspective. You would go into your physician, you would get a blood test. Just like you check for your cholesterol, your physician can order the NOR Labs Cancer Panel. We would get that blood sample, we would apply it to our proprietary nanochip, we would run it through surface-enhanced Raman spectroscopy, and Deepa is going to talk about that a little bit more. Separate out the healthy cells from the cancer cells using machine learning and give that precision medicine diagnosis back to your physician so you can have a chance for treatment options and discuss the next steps. Let's talk about what we're going to do first. So because it's a platform, we have to pick a cancer to target first. Lung cancer is the one that we picked because it's the #1 cancer killer globally. Now, since we're in Arkansas, I want to highlight some of the data that we found about Arkansas. Unfortunately, the low-dose CT scan, which is the current gold standard for screening, is super underutilized, less than 6% nationally. And in Arkansas, unfortunately, it's maybe perhaps not accessible. It's less than 4%. And that also translates into the survival rates, directly translating into that.
The current screening and diagnostic processes are severely underutilized and have many challenges. Liquid biopsy platforms have significant problems also. Most of you guys have heard of GRAIL. It has billions of dollars of funding for liquid biopsy research using cell-free DNA. Their own data shown on the left shows less than 25% sensitivity in early lung cancer detection. Since cancers are so prone to mutations, reagents and labels can also increase cost and limit diagnoses. NORLab's platform is intrinsically different. It is label-free, reagent-free, and focuses on living cells. The SURGE technology enhances the Raman scattering pattern by 6 to 14 orders of magnitude, allowing detection of substances at the single molecular level, giving us over 90% sensitivity and specificity in our preliminary studies, making it an ideal cancer risk assessment test. Just to reiterate, cancer cells release 10 times more exosomes. They carry cargo between cells. And as those cancer cells fill those exosomes with its cargo, the size and shapes of those exosomes change. These changes are picked up by the SURGE technology, and that cuts through all the noise and finds a unique pattern or spectra. Since each cancer appears to have a unique fingerprint, they're emerging as an ideal biomarker for cancer research. Exosomes are also showing significant potential as a therapeutic agent for targeted drug delivery in precision medicine. NORLab's multi-cancer platform has already been in R&D for over a decade at UCLA, starting with our proprietary nanochip. SURGE technology has been tested and confirmed isolation at the single exosome level. AI algorithm was developed, and we've been awarded NIH grant and several patents. Once the technology platform was optimized, we started testing in cell lines, colorectal, gastric, and lung cancer cell lines. We're now in the process of preliminary feasibility studies in patients. We have tested saliva of 20 gastric patients, comparing them to healthy controls, showing greater than 90% sensitivity and specificity. And our most recent milestone is Fda Clearance to start bronchial lavage fluid testing.
Convergence of three fascinating technologies has enabled NORLabs to take a fresh approach to an old problem. It's the microscopic structures on our patented nanochip that act like antennas to amplify the response as we scan a laser across the patient's blood sample. And a better understanding of cancer biomarkers gives us clues as to what's going on inside a person's body. And improvements in machine learning are making it possible to pick out the patterns from the noise as we scan that patient sample. Technologies like these are driving towards an impressive growth rate in the liquid biopsy market. Now, the competitive landscape may look crowded at first, but there's more differentiation here than may be immediately obvious. Low-dose CT scan is currently the gold standard for lung cancer screening, and it's actually pretty effective. Most of the time right now, lung cancer is detected in the later stages, once a patient has already become symptomatic. But when a low-dose CT screening program is in place and used extensively, it's actually healthcare providers have been succeeding in detecting lung cancer a lot sooner. In fact, at a naval hospital with a highly compliant patient population, 76% of their lung cancer diagnoses occurred in stage 1 or 2 after they started implementing a low-dose CT screening program. That's significantly better than the national population. So we know that early screening works to detect cancer sooner. But the problem is that low-dose CT is only used by about 5 to 6% of the high-risk population for whom it's recommended, probably because it's so resource-intensive and not available everywhere. And it's only for lung cancer, not to mention the fact that there is some residual risk just from the radiation dose itself. Liquid biopsies, though, hold the potential to bring that screening to a much wider population. Most of the liquid biopsies being pursued right now, though, are using, as we mentioned, cell-free DNA or circulating tumor cells. The challenge here is that most of these markers won't start showing up in detectable concentrations until the later stages of cancer. Exosomes, though, provide a biomarker that is detectable at earlier stages. And we're the only platform that's using a reagent-free material science approach to be able to detect exosomes and identify the ones that are released by cancer cells. The beauty of this approach is that by retraining the ML algorithm, we can one day expand the range of cancers that our platform could detect. There are 111 million people in the United States over the age of 50, many of whom may be worried about their risk of cancer of some type. But we have to start somewhere. That's why we've chosen lung cancer to start with, because we want to have maximum impact early. Right now, lung cancer is typically diagnosed in the in the later stages by an overwhelming margin, almost 84% of the time. The treatment cost is significantly different. As you can see from the chart, that it costs significantly more to treat a patient if they're diagnosed in stage 3 or 4. If we could screen just 25% of that high-risk population, then even when you account for the cost that screening would involve for 25% of that population, there's still a net savings to insurers of over $5.2 billion in treatment costs. That's going to get the attention of the insurance industry, and they're going to want to take note of our technology. There's a lot of things that go into how much it's going to cost to treat a patient. It depends on the insurance type, specifics of their individual case, but no matter what those circumstances, the trend, the pattern holds the same. If you detect cancer early, it'll cost significantly less to treat it. If you detect it late, then it's going to cost up to 8 to 10 times more.
We have a lot of plans for the future. We have a very aggressive process that we want to look at since we've spent so many years in research and development. We want to further do feasibility testing in bronchial lavage fluid, blood, and saliva, giving us an opportunity for at-home tests or other simple blood diagnostic modalities. We also want to do cancer stage 1 through 4 testing and apply for the FDA breakthrough device designation, which has an expedited process for clearance. We want to optimize our exosome isolation and ML algorithm, publish our studies, and get key opinion leaders on our platform. We also want to develop relationships with pharmaceuticals and other research centers. We need to obviously get to clinical trials that are pivotal and submit for FDA approval, leading towards billing and scaling of operations. So our ask today is only $50,000 because we're focusing on a tranche to be able to get these feasibility studies done. As we move forward, we will definitely have significantly more needs for finances, but we have a plan. We have non-dilutive funded options that we're going to be looking at, grants, seed money, and series funding raises. I know this is an aggressive timeline, but it is absolutely something that we're committed to focusing on. Our advisors have been extremely supportive. Professor Yahang Shea at the middle, he is the inventor of this technology and will continue to be our advisor. We have key opinion leaders that are physicians supporting us as principal investigators with our clinical trials. Chris Mattman is a Chief Technology and Innovation Officer at NASA and is providing technical advice on our AI algorithm. And we have advisors from both angel investments and medical startups. But I really want to talk about our team. Our team consists of Dr. Chandra, oncologist and director of research at his facility, Aram Babikian, who's a Wall Street executive, Brian D'Souza, who has years of biotech experience at Amgen. Alan is a naval officer with significant operational experience, and Sumita Jonak is a decorated combat veteran who was on the team instrumental in capturing Osama bin Laden. Hey, when you've gone after terrorists, what better to go after the terrorists in our body, right? We realize healthcare startups have many challenges. They need a committed team of people. Who better than people who have a proven track record of commitment and dedication, putting their lives on the risk for us? We need your support and mentorship to bring this research to reality. Thank you.
Thank you, team. That was a great presentation. Now the judges will start to ask their questions. Bradley, do you want to lead us off?
Sure. I guess, curious, you just touched on the team a little bit there. Can you just give us a little bit of color on who all is full-time engaged on this today? And then as you scale, as you go through kind of steps 1 through 3, what are the biggest holes that you need to fill on the team as you scale?
So I'll take that from the beginning, Brad, and then I'll pass it to the team to add to it. I'm full-time on it. And, as we're going to school full-time as well, there's going to be an opportunity for people to, come to that juncture to decide whether they want to transition full-time or not. And what I know from having conversations with my teammates is they definitely want to stay involved. Now, that involvement could be in the form of monetary support. For example, we've all put in $50,000 of our own money to make sure that, hey, we're actually vested in this. And then, from there, the gaps that we've identified are definitely on the regulatory side. And we've got experts at UCLA that we can tap into for that. Deepa, Alan, you want to add anything?
I'm absolutely committed to joining. I'm in the process of divesting my current responsibilities to be able to join.
Yes, and I am planning to do so as well, although my timeline is a little bit different because of my commitments to the Navy, and I am going through that transition process, but this is where I see things ultimately going.
Fantastic, thank you. Angela. You're on mute.
Thank you. Deepa, Sumita, Alan, great job. I thought your presentation was outstanding. My questions are really around intellectual property and kind of what your strategy is, in particular your patent strategy for this diagnostic tool. As you know, kind of in the patent space, diagnostic tools have really encountered a lot of headwind in terms of getting applications granted through the USPTO. If you're isolating material that's naturally occurring, you're not likely to get a patent. You talked about that as sort of a key component. You've also talked about the algorithm as important and key, and that too is not patentable. So can you talk about the patent strategy?
Angela, those are great questions. So I'll break your question into 2 parts. For the patent portion, the reason why our patent is different from the traditional ones that you described is because we're not trying to patent natural processes. We're patenting the nanochip, the fabrication, the technique, the method and system of that fabrication. So that's the patent aspect. The algorithm, you're absolutely right. Don't even want to try that. It's a trade secret. And the database would be proprietary, trade secret.
Thank you.
We are also currently in negotiations with the TG, can't say it, at UCLA to be able to get exclusive rights to these patents that are already been approved. And so we're quite far into that conversation.
Are you guys inventors on those patent applications, or are other people at the university inventors?
We are not inventors on this on these patent applications. The technology was developed before we even showed up to the scene, to UCLA. The inventor is Dr. Yahong Shea, and he's our advisor.
Great.
Thanks, Angela. Bobby S.
I have several questions. So is there anybody on the team that's actually developed a diagnostic test before?
That's a good question. And no one on the team has developed a diagnostic test before. However, we do have clinicians that use diagnostic tests, and Deepa can add all day long to that one.
Yeah, and we've also been meeting and interviewing key opinion leaders in all of those fields and looking at different diagnostic and big pharma companies to see how they're utilizing diagnostic tools.
So also, I assume that are you going to, for PMA, are you going to do a CLIA lab first? And if you're doing the PMA, your cost for your prospective trial seems a little low.
That's a good question, Bobby. And we are still trying to decide which path we need to take. And we have a little bit of runway before we need to make that decision. The CLIA lab allows us to do a lab developed test, as you know. And then, Deepa's the expert. I'll stop talking.
So Exosome Dx, which is an exosome-based diagnostic for prostate cancer, did get approval and has Medicare reimbursement approval. Also, they went through that pathway and could be a predicate device option for us to be following that pathway. There are several other exosome-based diagnostic tools that are in development right now, and we're looking at those options. But we have already started working with our FDA expert at UCLA and plan to meet with the FDA committee through the Breakthrough Device program within the next few months.
So I thought that even if another device had been, or a diagnostic test had been approved, that you couldn't go with the predicate. You had to at least do it de novo as opposed to PMA. Is that your understanding of the regulatory pathway?
So we looked at different options, and these are the kind of questions that we want to confirm. However, from a breakthrough device perspective, because this is a disease that can absolutely be a killer, we meet the criteria for the breakthrough device process, and gives us that expedited process. The predicate devices can be used if you wanted to go through that pathway. There's the 510K, de novo, all these other options are there, and that's what we want to talk to the FDA about.
And as you know, this is an extremely competitive space, the liquid biopsy, and there are billions of dollars being put in it. And almost everybody's focused on treatment-related help. So see if the cancer is cleared after being treated as opposed to a screening, because FDA's position, I thought, with screening is it will take tens of thousands of patients to get a screening diagnostic through the FDA as opposed to a companion diagnostic to a BMS or Merck Keytruda. Is that your opinion?
Yes, and in the last stage of our funding that we talked about, that's one of the reasons why the funding ask is so significantly higher, because of those pivotal trials that would be needed with a significant number of patients.
Thank you.
You were kind of breaking up a little bit, but I want to make sure we addressed your question about the companion diagnostics. We have interviewed pharma companies and talked with them about, what does it take to be a companion diagnostic? What's the lead time? And it's upwards of 5 years for that. And it's also a crowded space. Alan, were you going to add to that?
That's essentially what I was going to add, was the fact that in our conversations with companies, we've realized that is a pathway that requires significant lead time. So if we're trying to get to market faster, that may not be our optimal path. Furthermore, we would like to be, well, that's certainly a useful contribution to the field as well, to be able to verify that the treatment is working. It would be nice to tackle the original mission also of being able to help downstage those diagnoses. So that's another reason why we want to lean toward the screening side.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bobby F.?
Yeah, my question is just sort of about your long-term vision here. You're talking about leaving your careers to join this company. Do you think about an exit, or do you think about sort of long-term company proposition, IPO, standalone public company?
Great question. So there are, as you know, multiple exits that have happened in the liquid biopsy space, the biggest one being Grail. And, obviously the Exosome Dx was bought by Bio-Techne for a few $100 million. And just most recently, Thrive Detection by Exact Sciences for upwards of $2 billion. So that's definitely something that, is on our roadmap. We didn't present it here today because it's too early to be presenting that without having done the feasibility studies and the clinical studies. Deepa and Alan?
That pretty much hits the nail on the head. Not to say that we don't have a vision for the future. It's just that we really need to make sure that we're taking one step at a time here and learning along the way as these feasibility studies go to be able to make sure that we're addressing the right paths as things develop, because we know that there will be challenges. We know that when we start taking samples from real human beings as opposed to cell lines. I mean, we've got some human data already, but we know that things will get messy when we're doing this full end-to-end. But we see this feasibility study that's coming up in the spring as a very key milestone, because that will be that good end-to-end check that from the blood draw of the patient all the way to the machine learning processing, that we'll be able to make a viable recommendation there.
Thank you, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like to proceed with your question.
Sure. Yes, Bobby, I'm glad you said that. I wanted to say thank you for your service. It's amazing, and I definitely want to come to LA and hear the terrorist story, the non-cancerous terrorist story. But thank you. And by the way, putting 50,000 each into the business, my hat's off to you. That's awesome. People like me love to see that, and I think that'll really help you guys as you guys go out to seek capital. I just gonna have one question. You mentioned how easy these cancer cells produce these what do you call them, exomes that are really easy to see that there's an issue. Well, if it's so easy, why is there nobody? I guess I'm asking two things. Who are you competing with then? To come to market with these diagnostic tests. If it's that easy, why has it taken this long for somebody to be doing it? What's the challenges there?
Right. So fantastic question. My background is IT. So, when I look at technology, I'm like, wow, that's 6 months old already. In medical space, as you know, it takes a decade before something becomes accepted and tried and true. And so exosomes were recently coming into the foray, recently being a decade ago. And that's when the NIH grants really started to ramp up on the R&D. And that's when we really started to take a look at it. Now, there's a lot of startups that are looking at exosome-based diagnostics. They're focused on reagents, as Deepa was talking about. And so they're using specifically chemistry. They're using a biochemistry approach. We're coming in with material science using photonics and the way light interacts with the exosome lipid layer without destroying it. So it's contrasted with mass spec. It's not destructive. It's just seeing how do the proteins interact. Does that answer your question?
It does. And you mentioned
I can add to that a little bit more. I think one of the other things that's so key about being in our amazing bodies, we're all different. And all of these cancers are very mutagenic. And because of that, there is a very different process that may have to be done. And you have to be able to understand what's normal and what's abnormal. And those are the kind of things that the AI algorithm can really help with. However, the search technology is where we can cut through all that noise that's in our blood, all the different cells, all the different chemicals, so that we can focus on the exosomes. So yes, a lot of people are looking at these options, but they're not focusing on the isolation process and that fingerprint that needs to be really clear to be able to say to somebody, hey, you may have cancer. I would never want to tell somebody you have cancer if it wasn't a possibility. So it's really, really important to be able to get it right and to have that right fingerprint.
And last question, you mentioned that you use saliva to detect some markers. Which cancer was that? I missed that.
Gastric cancer?
That was with gastric cancer.
Yeah. But my last, vision is, like people go to get their PSA testing done when they do their yearly checkup. why can't we have a saliva test that's at home, like a colorectal, and send it off? It's a platform that looks at multiple cancers, and we can give you an option and say, hey, there's a risk for certain cancers in you. Let's get more diagnosis done.
I want to talk to you about that at-home saliva test when this call's over. We'll have a conversation.
Yes, sir.
So I have one last quick question.
Exosomes are present in other bodily fluids as well, and that's part of what our feasibility study this spring and summer is going to be examining, is where are we getting the best yield? Is it from blood or is it from saliva? Bronchial lavage is interesting because it provides us a sample. It's probably not a practical screening technique because it's a fairly invasive process that someone's not going to go in on an annual. If we can't get them into a low-dose CT, we're not going to get them in for a bronchial lavage on an annual basis.
You touched briefly on something that's of interest to me, which was the database, but you kind of glanced over it. So as you get this large body of information and we start to use the machine learning, et cetera, and pattern detection, you're going to have a lot of findings. Mm-hmm. When you see, just as a community committed to solving cancer, what do you see the possibility there for that asset?
Great question. So Deepa will talk about the open research databases because she's done a lot of, she's developed some herself. I'll speak to the technical implementation. So obviously you need to have robust and clean data. Otherwise it's not going to be very useful. So we're very committed to making sure, to Alan's point, that we have gotten the best yield and the best signatures in that database. So you want to populate it with very high quality data. Now, the intention is in the future, it could be multiple business models. It could be like a subscription basis where there's an API call to that database, and LabCorp or Quest could run that data as well. So that's where we could license out our technology. That's a possibility. Again, this is very soon, but we are dreaming big. Deepa was talking about a 23andMe for cancer. So, I mean, these are all just things that we have talked and thought through. Deepa, you want to add to that?
Yeah, and we did look at that 23andMe option and see, hey, could we do something like that? But really, at the end, 23andMe ended up having to go through the FDA process anyway, so we're going to just do it right the first time.
Well, team, thank you. It was an exceptional presentation. All the best, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great job, team. All right, that wraps up the final round of the Heartland Challenge. Great job, everyone, and thank you, judges, for the excellent, tough questions. Now we move into the deliberation period. To everyone watching, please join us here at noon Central Standard Time for the audience vote elevator pitches. That will be fun. For keynote remarks from Tracy Godet, CEO of the Whole Health Institute, and what you're all waiting for, the awards ceremony. Good luck, everyone. I hope you enjoy the final round of the Heartland Challenge. We will kick off with an elevator pitch competition now, and pay attention here because your votes will determine the winner. Here to MC this competition, I'm delighted to say, is my friend and colleague, Bjorn Simmons. Bjorn is an entrepreneur, venture catalyst, and champion for inclusive innovation. He works in the world of ecosystem building, helping communities take their entrepreneurs to the next level by providing readily available access to resources that launch, scale, fund, and ultimately exit their businesses. Bjorn has co-founded a number of startups, including venture-backed startup Wiser and Venture Noir, an entrepreneurship support organization focused on founders of color. His personal mission, which I think we can all get behind, is to eliminate innovation deserts around the world by building inclusive ecosystems for all entrepreneurs, regardless of their demography and geography, to thrive and generate wealth. Bjorn is a strategist at heart with leadership experience in marketing, political affairs, grassroots organizing, corporate innovation, community building, and venture capital. Bjorn, welcome, and thank you so much for doing this for us. I'm really excited to see the pitches.
I am super excited to be here. Thank you so much, Sarah. I am just, overwhelmed by the growth and success of the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation at the University of Arkansas. I'm a proud Razorback myself, and I tell people all the time, if I had the opportunity to take advantage of some of these resources while I was in undergrad, I'll probably be on my third or fourth startup by now. But nevertheless, I'm excited to be a part of this growing world-class ecosystem that's happening here. And I'm excited to share the elevator pitch with you all today, where you get to award $5,000 to a team, or to two teams today during the pitch. So the elevator pitch for the Heartland Challenge is going to go as such. Each team that qualified for the semifinals was asked to present their business concepts in a 60-second elevator pitch. It's going to be in video format. The pitches generally convince potential investors that they should schedule a follow-up meeting to explore the investment opportunity. Or if you're an entrepreneur support organization, you can provide additional resources to ensure the success of these companies. We will hear from each team, and then you will open up a live audience vote on our website. So be sure to go to heartlandchallenge.uark.edu. You will see a link to vote for your favorite team. Again, that's heartlandchallenge.uark.edu, and you, the audience, are going to award two teams some cash prizes today. All right, so with that, we're going to queue up our first presenter, and I'm happy to welcome back up from the University of Arkansas, presented by Jacob Evans.
Backup, the Uber of Airbnb cleaning. Every day, 275,000 Airbnb hosts are engaging cleaners to get their properties back up and hosting, creating a $2.2 billion addressable market in the United States alone. I am Jacob Evans, one of the three co-founders of Backup, a double-sided marketplace connecting cleaners and Airbnb hosts. The problems facing Airbnb hosts and cleaners are threefold: access to a reliable workforce, pricing, and quality assurance. The Backup app solves these problems by removing the hassle of finding and communicating with cleaners, keeping up with task lists, and facilitating automatic payments. Backup receives its revenue from charging hosts $16 monthly per property and a 15% gross margin on each turnover service. Backup is cash flow positive. This is on track to make $750,000 in year one of business. We're actively seeking a pre-seed investment of $35,000, followed by a $300,000 seed round as a convertible note with 20% discount on the first price round. Backup. Let's get Airbnb's backup and hosting. Thank you.
Awesome. Team one, Backup. Thank you so much for that great pitch. You guys are following the fundamentals, so it's good. This is going to be some intense competition, guys, but be sure to get ready to vote at heartlandchallenge.uark.edu. So with that, next team, BioSeal XE from Oklahoma State University, presented by Kevin Highpool.
Horse owners are no strangers as to how excitable and how frequently horses cut themselves. Whether horses are a passion or a means of livelihood, the horse owner is often in far greater pain due to the expense and time involved with the wound healing process. BioSeal is a revolutionary product bringing salvation to the worrisome horse owner. BioSeal XC is the only product that immediately stops bleeding within seconds and accelerates wound healing with only one application. BioSeal XC's market price is $60 a unit and can save horse owners $755 due to the displacement of expensive veterinarian bills. BioSeal XC will create a niche market worth $104 million annually. I'm Kevin Heifel, and along with my partners, we are seeking funding to complete the product development and launch BioSeal into the market. BioSeal XC, the XC stands for extreme, because oftentimes horses need extreme healing.
Way to go, BioSeal XE, extreme. I like that. Be sure you guys are taking notes because you guys are going to be the investors today. They're in the audience. Next up, we have Bullyproof from the University of Arkansas, presented by Elizabeth Osbach.
Hi, I'm Liz Osbach, CEO of Bullyproof. 90% of professionals have directly experienced workplace bullying or harassment. And as of 2020, a staggering 80% of the US workforce is working from home. And now these incidents are happening online. HR directors are scrambling to find digital tools that replace outdated training programs. Bullyproof is a software as a service platform that uses advanced machine learning to help mid-sized technology companies identify early signs of harassment in their workforce by providing real-time insights into workplace communication that prevents harassing behaviors from boiling over into complaints, turnover, litigation, or worse. You could think of it as HR's thermometer for company culture and an employee's private coach for inclusion and sensitivity. Bullyproof knows how to build this industry-disrupting SaaS platform in a $32 billion market with our 20-plus years successfully solving this problem for Facebook and eBay. Join Bullyproof in giving HR teams the tools they need to turn workplace communication into answers.
Wow, great job, Bullyproof. I'm super excited about the work you all are doing. Next up, we have Cyril Bex from Tufts University, presented by Ben Webb.
Hi, I'm Ben Webb, co-founder of Cerebex Drug Delivery Technologies from Tufts University. Neurological diseases affect millions of people worldwide, and many of these diseases cannot be treated safely and effectively with today's technology. A large reason for this is the blood-brain barrier, a membrane that protects the brain from harmful pathogens and toxins, but is so selective that it prevents over 98% of drugs from entering the brain, hampering the development of treatments. Our solution is a novel lipid nanoparticle-based drug delivery platform that uses neurotransmitter-derived lipidoids to deliver a wide variety of drugs across the blood-brain barrier and into the brain where they can effectively treat these diseases. Our platform is highly customizable and has demonstrated functional delivery across the blood-brain barrier and into nerve cells without any modification of the therapeutic cargo whatsoever. It has been successfully tested on mice and has the potential to revolutionize the treatment of neurological diseases. Right now, we are seeking funding for early stage development and validation of our platform. With your help, we can enable the treatments of tomorrow.
Wow, neurological innovation right here at the Heartland Challenge. Great job, team. Next up, we have Closed Composites from the University of Southern California, presented by Carlos Navarro.
Hello, my name is Carlos Navarro, and I am the founder of Closed Composites. We are a chemical and engineering clean tech startup with a patented recycling process for carbon fiber composites, which allows us to recover both the embedded fibers and the polymers. This composite panel has about $30 worth of raw material in it, yet our recycling competitors would at best shred it and burn it. We've only got one Earth, and to protect it, consumers are demanding more recycled materials in the products they buy. We are able to provide recycled aerospace-grade fiber weaves to manufacturers of cars, bicycles, wind turbine blades, and so on, and empower them to meet these demands while making superior-grade products at technical-grade prices. These composites are lightweight yet extremely durable. They make our vehicles lighter so they pollute less. They make more reliable golf clubs to add yards to your game. I've been a part of the deep technology advances in both chemistry and engineering that our team is using to enable new carbon fiber fabrics like this. And Closed Composites is excited to share them with our customers. Thank you.
I'm super impressed by these teams. They have their 60-second pitch down packed. Next up, we have Nivara Solutions from the University of Arkansas, presented by Giselle Toledo.
Ice is a tremendous force. Millions of years ago, vast sheets of ice carved out our land here in Arkansas. Humans have been adapting to the challenges of ice. We even survived the last ice age. Our current methods of dealing with ice is primitive. To get rid of ice, typically we need to apply an external force, whether it's heating it up to melt it off, using mechanical force to push it off, or by using chemicals, which create harmful wastewater pollution. Using nanotechnology, I've created a coating that strongly adheres to surfaces to passively prevent the formation of all types of ice, whether it's freeze or frost, glaze ice, or rime ice found in high altitudes. Testing conducted at the Anti-Icing International Laboratory in Canada determined that the continual ice phobicity of our coating is unmatched by any other ice-phobic coating to date. Our current methods of dealing with ice is just not sustainable. That's why I created this permanent, passively ice-phobic coating. Nivara Solutions is on a mission to create long-lasting and multifunctional coating solutions.
Ice and nanotechnology. Wow, this just keeps getting better. Competitions is heating up. But next up, we have Neurolabs from UCLA, presented by Deepa Nagar.
Hi, my name is Deepa Nagar. I'm a doctor and currently a 2021 executive MBA student at UCLA Anderson. Last year, my father was diagnosed with lung cancer, but in 1 month, he passed away. We didn't have a chance to fight. Sadly, this is what most people face because most lung cancers are diagnosed way too late. As a critical care doctor, I've always helped patients fight to survive the most severe situations and have the best quality of life. I'm honored to be part of Noor Labs because we've developed a simple blood test using patented technology developed at UCLA to help diagnose cancer in its earliest stages when outcomes are so much better. People will not go through what my father and family went through. They will be able to fight cancer, and Noor Labs will be there to help beat cancer.
Great job, Noor Labs, connecting your passion to innovation to drive change. I love it. Next up, we have Paldera from Oklahoma State University, presented by William Colton.
My name is William Colton. I'm the co-founder and inventor behind Paldera Pharmaceuticals. We're developing a novel hydrogel coating to prevent one of the most common hospital-acquired infections as reported by the Centers for Disease Control. Our coating is used on catheters to prevent catheter-associated urinary tract infections, which cause a $1.7 billion economic burden on the healthcare industry annually. With the $50,000 we originally raised, we've been able to outfit a BSL-2 laboratory in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where we've done species-specific trials and developed a minimum viable product to treat the 3 leading causes of catheter-associated urinary tract infections. We plan on reaching the $50,000 first place prize money to help us proceed through animal trials and prepare for our preclinical IND application. We've also received a verbal match through the Innovation to Entrepreneurship program for that $50,000 prize money. We really appreciate this opportunity and look forward to competing. Thank you.
They're doing some incredible work here. These students are outstanding. Great job. Next up, we have Regen Technologies from the University of Arkansas, presented by Asma Malhotra.
2 million amputations and 1 million deaths occur annually due to vascular graft infections and complications. It is projected that the number of people living with an amputation will more than double by the year 2050 if these vascular graft infections are not controlled. We believe the use of our product can prevent a significant number of these life-altering events. Hi, I'm Astha Malhotra, CEO of Regen Technologies and the inventor of our first product, Synflow. Synflow is an easily storable, ready-to-use, conformable, and infection-resistant graft with better mechanical properties than current market options. Our preclinical studies have shown Synflow does not allow bacteria to stick onto its surface, providing 10 times more infection prevention than our competitors. Through Synflow, we are presenting an opportunity to invest in a life-saving product that solves a major need in a $4 billion market with a committed team and well-positioned intellectual property. By 2027, we anticipate revenues of $38 million and significant ROI to investors. Please join us as we make life-changing impact by preventing infections in surgical settings. Thank you.
Great job, Regen. Next up, we have Ripely from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Awesome. Presented by Alex Leclerc.
Every year, 30 to 40% of all fresh food produced gets wasted, resulting in an annual $1 trillion lost worldwide. Ripely is a food technology startup that uniquely solves this problem by providing a 100% increase in the shelf life of fresh food. Our product uses food to save food and is comprised of a small amount of natural protein mixed with water to generate an edible, tasteless, odorless, and invisible protective coating for fresh food that is easily applied at no expense to food quality. Food retailers and grocery stores have told us that our product would increase their margins, ease supply chain management, and is also easily integratable. Likewise, over 1/3 of consumers have told us they would purchase our product for the added benefits of fewer trips to the grocery store, savings on food spending, and an increased convenience of healthy eating. We are seeking $100,000 in seed funding this spring to optimize our MVP development, and we are hoping you will join us in providing the largest innovation in fighting food waste since the advent of refrigeration.
Another awesome company. Great job, Ripely. Next up, we have Uniphage from Yale NUS College, presented by Sophia Siyal.
Hi, I'm Sophia, CEO of Uniphage. I hate to say that, but at least one of your great-grandparents or their siblings almost certainly died from a bacterial disease. Antibiotics have changed this reality, but their overuse is bringing it back. Uniphage is here to change that. We use phages, save viruses, infecting bacteria only. We replace the outdated 100-year-old process to make phage solutions with our deep learning-powered platform. We've already built the best models to date to predict which phages can efficiently kill target bacterial pathogens. We'll first target bacterial diseases in agriculture, the easiest to enter field from the regulatory perspective, and then tackle human diseases. Our very first target is citrus greening, a currently incurable disease that causes us more than $2 billion in damages annually. We expect to start selling our first citrus greening solution by 2023 and make more than $200 million in revenue by 2027. Thank you.
I love these companies. They're building big box ideas and leading with innovation up front. Last but certainly not least, we have Eurolift from Washington University in St. Louis, presented by Sheng-Hai Lee.
Hello, we are Eurolift, and we are providing immediate relief of Bph symptoms. More than half of men over 50 suffer from urinary problems and reduced quality of life due to prostate enlargement or Bph. This translates to 40 million patients in the US, 500 million patients worldwide, and the $30 billion global Bph treatment market. Current medications need to be taken daily for years and can have side effects, while surgeries that remove parts of the prostate can have severe complications. Our minimally invasive surgical device will provide immediate and permanent relief without complications. We have successfully conducted feasibility and validation tests with our 1x scale prototypes. We will use the 510(k) pathway for FDA clearance and existing CPT codes for reimbursement. We are engineers with experience participating in medical device accelerators. Our clinical advisor is a practicing urologist at Barnes-Jewish Hospital. Thank you for your time.
Awesome. That wraps up the elevator pitches for the Heartland Challenge. Congratulations to all 12 teams who presented. They did a great job with their 60-second pitch. Now is your time to become the investors. You get to go to the Heartland Challenge website and vote for your favorite team. Again, visit heartlandchallenge.uark.edu. Scroll to the voting link underneath the live stream window. Many of you are already watching via the live stream on this site. And if that's the case, just scroll down, click and vote for your favorite team. You can vote as many times as you like. Votes will be counted from the end of the last pitch, which we just concluded, for the next 5 minutes. So vote. Again, that's heartlandchallenge.uark.edu. Scroll down and vote for your favorite team. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bjorn. Great job, teams, on your pitches. That was fantastic. And I hope everyone gets your votes in the next 5 minutes. Shifting gears, entrepreneurship takes many forms. And as we emerge from a global pandemic, I cannot think of a better person to reflect on why this way of thinking and working matters more than our keynote speaker this year. Dr. Tracy Godet is the Executive Director for the Whole Health Institute, based here in Bentonville, Arkansas. Situated near the Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art, which you absolutely must come visit. The mission of the Whole Health Institute is to help people live a full and meaningful life by making whole health accessible to everyone. Before she was in this role, Dr. Godet served as the Executive Director of the Veterans Health Administration's National Office of Patient-Centered Care and Cultural Transformation. Prior to that, she served in many roles, including Executive Director of Duke Integrative Medicine. In addition, she co-founded the Consortium of Academic Health Centers for Integrative Medicine. She's board certified in obstetrics and gynecology. Dr. Godet is a leader in the transformation of healthcare. Her accolades are too many to name, but she's been featured as a top leader in healthcare by Fortune magazine and was featured on the PBS nationally acclaimed special entitled The New Medicine. I know that after you hear from her, you will want more. So finally, I will note that Dr. Godet is also the author of Consciously Female, a book on integrative medicine and women's health in body, soul, and baby. And with that, I'll hand it over to you, Tracy.
Thank you, Sarah. It is such an honor to be here with you for the 2021 Heartland Challenge Student Competition. This global student competition, which encourages entrepreneurship and rewards innovation, creates an opportunity for today's disruptive thinkers to tackle society's biggest challenges. And boy, do we have some big challenges. This year's 12 semifinalists are pushing the boundaries of current thinking in everything from sustainability to healthcare, creating more equitable workplaces, reducing waste, and building healthier communities. These students demonstrate the best of entrepreneurial thinking, and that is, for my opinion, seeing large systems that are broken as an opportunity for radical transformation. You know, it is possible to be a great entrepreneur and never actually impact large system transformation. So I want to talk a bit about what positions innovation to drive large system change. In my opinion, it's innovation that either changes the paradigm of the system or the purpose of the system. And there's no shortage of systems that are in need of transformation. Our economic systems, our educational systems, our political systems, and how we use and choose technology. And the focus of our work is the health system. And I'd like to use that as an example. The innovation that is needed in healthcare will change the entire paradigm of what healthcare is for, the purpose of healthcare. The current paradigm is a disease care system. We need a health system, a system that actually optimizes health and well-being. The purpose of the first is to diagnose and treat disease. The purpose of the second is to help people discover their purpose and live a full and meaningful life, mind, body, and spirit. And yes, we still need to diagnose and treat disease, but everything changes when we change the purpose of the system. This is a radical redesign. This will not happen by people of the system tweaking things around the edges. That's important and results in continuous improvement, but it's not sufficient. This kind of radical change will only happen if entrepreneurs like you first look at the problem through totally different lenses. Second, then dive in, innovate, and adapt, learn. Third, most critical from my perspective, is then sharing that back with the large system and continuing to repeat that cycle. The bottom line is you have to dance with the system if you're going to drive change. That's the magical interface of entrepreneurs and big system issues facing our society today. It's actually why we created the Whole Health Institute, and we're also creating a new School of Medicine and Health Sciences from scratch. One of the core tenets of the Whole Health Institute is knowing the power of living laboratories and grassroots innovation. The other is partnerships and collaborations with those already in the system driving change. This is the way big systems transform. And as I mentioned, we now have more of these in breakdown in our nation than perhaps any time in modern history. So the world needs you, big time. My wish for you is let this be just the beginning of your journey as entrepreneurs, as disruptors, as agents of change. And may you then take on harder and more complex challenges with each step on your journey. We need you like never before. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for sharing that with us. Okay, we're almost there. There are only a few minutes between now and the announcement of the final awards. And here with us today to help us hand out the awards, Academy Award style, is the former winner of the Heartland Challenge 2020. Please welcome Robert Hatcher, winner of the 2020 Heartland Challenge. Robert is CEO and co-founder of Origin, a music publishing platform that leverages AI and blockchain technology. He created this company over 2 years while completing his MBA with a focus in analytics consulting at Georgia State University. Since his graduation last May, he's been working on the business full-time. Robert, welcome back. It is great to see you. Congrats on completing your MBA.
Thank you so much. Great to, excited to be here.
It's fun to see you. You had a great competition run last year, including taking home top honors at the Heartland Challenge and Rice and elsewhere. Now that you've gone from being a student founder to a full-time founder, what has the transition been like? Where is Origin today?
The transition has been great, simply because I could devote all of my time to the business. And actually, we're planning to release a beta project, a private beta, the end of this month. For us, this quarter will kind of be about, testing some of our pricing strategies, our marketing positions, and getting ready really in Q3 to release a public beta version of our product.
That's really exciting. When you think about where to build your business, obviously the music industry is a global industry. What are some of the factors at play as you think about your growth in your future?
Some of the factors that is in play is, the type of environment, the city, how much they're paying attention. I was really excited in terms of all the resources that we kind of heard that were in Arkansas. Unfortunately, I wish we had the opportunity to visit there. Unfortunately, we couldn't due to COVID. But, similar to what I heard, the value proposition from last year in terms of all the resources that were being presented in Arkansas, it sounded like there was a lot of resources for entrepreneurs to grow, as well as, investors in the community being active. As a young entrepreneur, that's extremely important for us. And I would say last, I think we try to look at how does the environment in terms of the location impacts our value proposition of what we're trying to do as a company.
Yeah, well, I hope that we get to have you here for a visit sometime soon. Now that travel's opening back up again, we would love to host you.
Likewise.
So what's next for you?
Next for us is just releasing a product and hopefully be on our way to $1 billion valuation.
We wish you the best of luck and cannot wait to follow your story. You've got a lot of fans here.
Thank you.
So, okay, I think we know our winners. Do you have the list of winners in front of you yet?
I do.
You do? Okay, yes, whenever you're ready.
And coming in second place, excuse me, I actually lost it. Okay, second place, the award winner for the elevator pitch competition, winning $2,000 is Backup. So congratulations to Backup coming in second place, and coming in at first place. And I apologize if I mispronounced your name, but it looks like we have Zero Bex Drug Delivery. So congratulations coming in first place for our award at winning for $3,000.
Okay, and for our main competition, we have 4 awards. And I think that the judges deliberated for quite a long time. I hear it was a really tough decision. Do you have those winners in front of you? I haven't seen the list yet.
Yep, so I think we're waiting for the list. It's loading a little bit. Still loading. Anticipation is building. I believe the anticipation is building, getting quite thick. Judges are deliberating. I believe we have it just came in. So I would like to announce in fourth place, winning $5,000 is Team BioSeal XC from Oklahoma State University. Congratulations to BioSeal from Oklahoma State. Congratulations. Now for third place, winning $10,000 is Team Eurolift. I think I'm mispronouncing that wrong, but you're from Washington University in St. Louis. Congratulations to you guys coming in at third place, winning $10,000. And I believe we have in second place. Drum roll, please. Coming in at second place, winning $25,000 is Team Backup from the University of Arkansas. Congratulations to Team Backup from the University of Arkansas for winning $25,000. There you go. when I come to Arkansas, you guys gonna have to take me out. I'm looking forward to it, team. Back up. And now, the moment everybody's been waiting for, the final winner of the Heartland Challenge, receiving $50,000, is Team NeurLabs from UCLA. Congratulations to Team NeurLabs winning $50,000 from the University of UCLA. Congratulations, guys. Now, congratulations to all the teams out there, and we're going to take it back to Sarah.
Thank you so much, Robert. Congratulations, everyone. Gosh, this was incredible. I'm so happy for you, and I can't wait to welcome all of you to Arkansas when you're able to visit. We will show you a great time. It's a wrap. Thank you very much to all of the students who competed this week. I know it was a long road to get here, and to their advisors. I know the investment of time required to get them to this stage. And to our incredible community of judges and all the partners who made this competition possible, especially our lead sponsor, the Walton Family Charitable Support Foundation. Congratulations, everyone. We are so excited to see where you go from here. We hope you stay connected.